Okay, so we are live, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Citizen Science Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Rebecca Benningfield, and this is the one and only podcast where you will hear information about our binary twin solar system. And this evening, I have two co-hosts with me. We have Jesus Marquez, and looks like he's froze up right now, and we have Samuel Hofman. Hey, Sam.
Hey.
How are you today?
Getting through it.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm thankful both of you are here, and I already have two viewers with us. So I'm happy. We actually had one I know was waiting several before. So I think probably was Stevie, and he's here with us, Stevie Williams. So hey, Stevie.
Yeah, so we'll just mention to Jesus, just, come back to the room.
Yeah, I saw him.
Recirculate.
Oh, here he is.
Yeah, I don't know.
He is.
I don't know what's happening already.
Well, sometimes you got. I found that sometimes you got to come back twice before it works right.
Well, here we are again, another Tuesday night.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. So, how are you tonight, Jesus? I haven't really got to visit with you too much, but
I'm good. Enjoying this autumn warm weather for November.
So you said normally it should be snowing there in Utah.
Oh yeah. We should have been pumped a bucket of snow by now, but we barely have any up on the mountains. So it's been very, very warm this winter, I think, so far. We had some big ones.
We had 4, 5, 6 inches. That blast that went by like 2 weeks ago, and then it all melted off, and we've been in the 40s and 50s ever since. And of course, it is too warm. It is way too warm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just Montana Skywatchers and Montana Skywatcher Anonymous, and I believe even Nibiru Followers Anonymous, I posted a new graph where they just put out a study where it is way too warm for November again.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it was really nice here. I was wearing my summer clothes today. It was like upper 70s, and it will be tomorrow again, and then it's going to get chilly and be high in the 60s. So not bad.
It's still pretty warm for even for you guys, right, Rebecca?
It is. Like I said, I was wearing like capris today, so it was pretty warm. For November, seems odd.
Yeah,
short sleeve t-shirts and But
it's been a very warm winter so far, absolutely. And from what I hear, it's not going to be changing anytime soon. So, it'd be interesting to see what's going on.
Exactly. I wonder if this winter will be. I mean, our weather guy here, Tulsa, Oklahoma, keeps saying more snow, more snow. So I wonder if it's going to be one of those, years when it's just.
Yeah, you might get a lot of wet snow.
Right. The last big snow was like around 2011. It was big. It was like, I don't know, feet and feet of snow. So.
Well, see, last year we had about double the amount of snow we usually get. We usually get about 300 inches up on the mountains, and last year we got 750. We got over 50 feet of snow up on the mountains.
Yeah, and so of course, the Mammoth Mountains in California and all of that got way more. They got where everybody was so buried underneath there, they were all having to get emergency evacuated and stuff, and they were like 20 feet of snow up in there, and that's going to happen again this year, except that it's going to be probably moved over probably to Arizona, New Mexico, northern Texas, and probably Oklahoma, Arkansas, etc., because that moisture line is going to come over and through the Gulf and go over the that third jet stream we talked about last week, where there's this moisture barrier that's coming out of the central troposphere of the Pacific Ocean, and it's heading up through Corpus Christi, Texas, and that area, and then it's running up the East Coast. So, and of course, that weather is what's also attacking and affecting Europe right now. And they've got a new rotational storm off the coast of Iceland, and Mark was talking about his weather hitting Ireland again. So, And this is that big storm. And I had expected it to hit by now, but it's actually stalled out in the middle of the Pacific and gotten stronger, I guess. I have to look into the barometric pressure and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just this long, eventful gathering of jet streams that are just really, really big and wide that they never used to be.
Yeah, and also I haven't seen such crazy close passes this time of the year. I have. It's been a very long 180-day cycle. You know what?
Well, they are over us now, and
yeah.
Before
My last post kind of shows that how they're coming in and then going up over us. It's crazy.
It's very reminiscent of the 2018-2019 run when Atu and Yuri traded sides, and then they went past Earth and they were being illuminated at sunrise in the west, and we hadn't seen that before on that cycle. And then now we're running into literally where we can pull out the old drawings from back at that period of time, and they're literally matching. I got some pictures in today of tipped axis open core Nepacity, and it was way smaller back to that older drawing that I used again. And I thought myself, yep, they are rising, because this is getting smaller and that's getting smaller, and Yuri's going north of us now, and it's cool. It's a really cool show, and we've not seen the close passes of Isatum and Isatum's yellow moon like we are now, which you were talking about earlier to me. And you go ahead and describe what you were seeing.
Yeah, it we'll see the day before I worked pretty early that day. I worked late and into the morning, and I saw what was something clipping off the sun, but it was still pretty distant, and I knew to get prepared because I knew it was coming. And sure enough, the next day, full blown close pass of the Saturn. It started out a little lower on the horizon and then just rose up above us. It was very interesting to see that. But it was intense. It was really reflective. I could barely look up at the sky. It was just so intense, and you could feel the sunlight just kind of burning your skin. It was a crazy pass.
I've recently seen some pictures where starting to question solar placement. There's always that question: is it moving? Are they separating? But there is definitely some solar events on the Soho sky cams and all of that, right and left, and etc. And so I'm always watching what's going on, and that sun is definitely way hotter than it's supposed to be. But anybody that knows the sky well enough for the last 20 or 30 years would understand that, whereas younger people now go, oh well, the sun is hot and it burns you. Well, no, it's way hotter than it ever used to be. And this is part of our weather and the weather wintering over of plants. We've seen that up here in Montana, where if you have a plant in the ground, it'll actually stay alive during the winter, and that up in Montana is absolutely unheard of, because everything dies.
We've been seeing that here too, Sam. The grass still green well into November, December, even with snow on it.
Boy, look at that.
You still have grass growing out, popping out of the snow. It's crazy, and I remember thinking about you mentioning that.
I've never seen it up in Montana before, and then I've actually had literally from 2000. God, about 2016 on, I started watching really weird plant crop weathering, and like I said, it does not do that up here ever, and now it does. How many pictures have you scrolled through that I didn't look up for? That's awesome. This picture we're looking at is absolute Atu. You can see the purple in the background and everything. So Atu's moon's got to be higher up than view here, but that's Atu.
Right.
This kind of looks like something that JD posted recently. I'm not sure if it was his picture or if he was just sharing.
I think it was. I think this was.
This looks very similar. There was a few postings that I saw from JD, and then I saw some comparisons from other people that were.
Yeah, he sent a bunch today.
The exact same comparison. So.
Yeah, a lot of really, really awesome sky shots coming in. JD posts a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
He goes out hunting. I wish they were more his than other people's, but
he
does
finds a
what
lot
he
of it.
does.
Yeah.
He has posted some of his own stuff that I
Right.
was recently. That was very cool as well.
I let him break the rules on Montana
But I mean,
Skywatcher, but
But I mean, he's down in Kansas too, so
Yeah.
he's way down there. So his elevation is not very helpful for him. So I'm sure his sightings are a little bit further in between.
Oh, that's what you meant by he's down there. I was thinking Kansas down south. No, Kansas isn't south.
No.
Yeah, as in
the
elevation. Down
elevation.
there is in
I know
closer to sea level. Yeah.
I have family pretty close to where his area, and in fact my older brother was born in Kansas as well. So my dad was a farmer in Kansas for a long time, so we used to live there pretty when I was younger. So I know how flat and how how
Yeah,
low,
that
low
adds
down
new meaning.
the elevation is pretty low out there. So big skies, but I mean the elevation isn't really helping him that much.
Yeah.
You want to look at some of Jesus's videos?
Yeah.
How about
let's see some current events.
I made a kind of a compilation, but here, let's see. This one was what I was talking about earlier. Look at that.
Yeah, this was
that is.
This was morning. This was morning.
This, of course, is Attu's moon, and you see over to the left, you see lead asteroid and the red asteroid and the spiral asteroid and all those in their normal line. And this is what I was referring to. It goes back to those old drawings of 2018, 2019, where it's just matched patterns again, and they're high enough above us and not so darn close over the top of us that we can't make out what's what. And then, of course, the above head illumination where the rest of the ground level is all shadowed and dark.
Well, because as they rise in above us, they're really photogenic and they make for really great videos and pictures because they're a little more distant and not so much in your face. It's rising up above.
Right. You can actually tell what you're looking at rather than just, from straight across the sky.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was just going to say one thing.
Those are the ones earlier today of Isatum Jalamoon on the ones you were just looking at. This, of course, is this is, of course, back to
what stands out to me is like you see where the sun is, right? And then all of a sudden it's just like this all of a sudden line of blue where Attu's moon is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's a shadow. It's a circle. And we're seeing that Attu's moon is actually smaller than it was, even last year. Last year, it was so bristly and bubbly and over the top of us, it was a sky filler. And now Attu and Attu's moon are smaller and they're rising above us and going past Earth. And this is kind of an interesting part of the cycle. It's almost disappointing in some ways, and yet not at the same time, because now we get to revert back to what we know. And you can plainly see the lead asteroid and red asteroid and spiral asteroid over to the left there. They're angling in the downward, plane. And they show up and they show up and they show up. Now that one, that's Isatum and Isatum Jalamoon right there. And it's just plain as day.
Okay, so how about right there where I'm zooming in?
That is lead asteroid crossing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, is that the green asteroid?
No, that's lead. See the stripes?
Oh, you're right.
Green asteroid is blotchy and farther over and slightly higher.
Gotcha.
And it's not in that shot.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's lead asteroid crossed over.
Wow.
And that's why the red asteroid is making the predominant cameo, and you could even have a little bit of cute long box in that shot as well.
Yeah, no, definitely the long box was definitely
it's always there. It's just whether or not
kind of cutting in. It was kind of cutting into the sun. But this one, due to placement, I thought it was maybe the green asteroid, but I did not think that was the lead object. That's crossing completely.
Yeah, and remember how it's always just like that. It's been doing.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
It's been doing the right in front of Isatum's yellow moon regularly for about 3 months now, and there's there's different angle points on rotation, and we watched. There was a really good video. I think it's still posted on Montana Skywatcher 2 of Attu's moon, for instance, just semi-buried in the visible atmosphere where Attu was behind, and you couldn't even see Attu above it and behind, and yet it was stable the time lapse went by and went by and went by. Yeah, that's what you're pointing at is the faceplate, that circular faceplate that Saturn's yellow moon makes. Okay. So behind that is a larger round, and which is Saturn's yellow moon, and you can see the ion tail bend around it to the upper right. Those little wispy ion tails. But there,
I thought it was a little big to be the green asteroid, but I was thinking, because things are looking so, because they're rising above us, the view that we're getting is slightly different from what we've been seeing. So I was a little confused.
Yeah, well, a green asteroid's somewhere over there, but it's blotchy and it's about half that size.
There was a trail of asteroids to the right that didn't come out in this frame, but I think it made it onto my wide angle version of this.
I'm sure there's stuff we haven't documented, and argumentatively so for some of our my brain included, where there's just stuff every once in a while that we don't document, so we don't list it. But I'm sure there's some sort of asteroids associated with Saturn that we don't know about. I know it's even got extra moons that we don't even talk about. Yeah. So
it's been kind of new stuff because things are getting the view of it
closer.
Yes, because of the view is just getting so closer and directly above us.
I was even seeing backlog of Saru on the other side.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just was saying, I saw Saru in another couple of shots in the last week or so, and we don't mention it a lot, and we never, we always get past Matim, and so there are a bunch. Yeah, see the blob right in this shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
dead center. That's probably the green asteroid. See how blocky it is?
Really? Yes.
And then right beside it to the left is the lead asteroid. Wow. Because there's the little stripes. And then behind that is probably Saturn's yellow moon.
I wish you could see my cursor, but I'm just...
Yeah. I wish I could too.
I know, because then I could... That's strange that they
well, that was the difference between my old programs, that when I first originally started using, which was called Show More. And you could use your cursor, and you could use the, and that's why I even resorted to some little fancy pointer sticks, because it worked so much better while I was trying to describe the show. And it makes better. That's why I went to a downward facing live camera even.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to look and see if there's a way to make your cursor show up on here.
And, that's also part of the reason I went to cutouts. Originally, what I would do is I'd cut out the, a red planet, and that's approximate size of what we're looking at. And I would cut out the green planet, which is approximate size, and it would be much smaller than the red, and sort of give levels of size. And even though it's not completely the scale, but give examples of scale. And that's why I was doing the pointer and talking and stuff, because that was the best way to do it. And then, of course, the Show More stopped working for me, like many other things. So I stopped trying to pay money to stuff that didn't work.
Yeah. I wonder if that service is still active.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
It was a very functional, and it was, it went directly to the cloud. And so.
That's cool. No, I forgot to tell you, I went live on TikTok with my new live stream capabilities, where because up until now I've only been able to do live on my cell phone on TikTok, right? But now I have the ability to show anything that's on StreamYard. I can show on TikTok as well. So I've had 2 shows. The second one had almost 3,000 views. And the first one was 2,000, but it was in the middle of the night. I was just going to try it out, and I ended up staying on for 2 hours. But
so it went smoothly. You didn't have any issues?
It did. It really did.
You didn't have any issues with them, citing misinformation or any of that crap?
Right. I didn't hold back much.
So you had 2 hours smooth. That's nice.
Right. I would say that's the longest I've ever been on without either staying on, but I tend to get in trouble. But I didn't talk about sea trails and stuff because I know that that's a trigger. So, but it went really well. Had quite a few viewers, and so I'll keep it up because I can way more effectively share information now, because it was where I could just share one picture at a time, and then I'd have to, find another picture. It was almost not worth it. Yeah. But it's good now.
The capabilities that you have here on StreamYard are so much better, so
right.
This really help your audience on TikTok.
Right. So it's going well, and I picked up, I don't know, at least 100 new followers over the last couple of nights. So
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Going good. And hashtag Twin Solar System is up to 5 million hits.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, we're in the millions now, Jesus. So
wow.
Right.
We're getting into the big leagues now.
Right. I mean it. Millions. What's next? Billions. Okay. We can do that. So
the illumination on these clouds. Yeah, I love that one.
Jesus says this one is not a cloud.
No, that is not a cloud.
That's what he said.
There was a whole group of bigger ones to the left that didn't make it in the frame. I was kind of sitting at light, so I just took my phone out real quick and took this video, but there was a big cluster right behind this. This was a very small version of what was happening. I want to discuss this video right here. This is old, but look at the side orb, everything on this one right here. I think this is one of my best, probably one of my better. When it comes to the cube, I don't have as much footage as I would like, but this was a very clear one in New Mexico.
Shoot, I was afraid I'd do that. Sorry, I'll get back to it.
It
would have been older to be that big.
Yeah. It was.
It's currently smaller. Yeah, that is
unusually big. Yeah.
I got that one that we're looking at right now. I got 4 or 5 different shots today from around the world that showed literally that same pattern, but it was angled slightly different.
I saw a few matching one as well. One a lot bigger, but the exact same shape as well.
That's the bottom of Uri and stuff underneath it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, did you say what it was? Because if so, I missed it.
Yeah, that's the lower edge of Uri, and there's asteroids and
wow.
We got like 4 or 5 different sightings of this literal exact cloud from around the world, and I got that in this morning.
Yeah, no,
I would have never guessed. Well, maybe eventually, but
anytime we see these odd-shaped cluster of asteroids, I know it's Uri's the culprit, because it has some really distinctively odd looking asteroids.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is
huge.
Yeah.
And that had to be like 2 years ago, right?
Probably longer, Sam. This
okay.
was at least.
Okay, well, remember when
this was in New Mexico, so it had to be.
Okay, remember when we were talking how it was orbiting from north to south, and we had sightings of that in radars and other stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, and at one point in time, it was really, really close to Earth and really huge, and that boils right into that same time period.
It started out big, and then it got smaller. It was in the sky probably a good hour or two. But it started out very big, and then it kind of crossed into the bottom right above the sun, or right below the sun.
Yeah, they moved location in 2019, and then went into where they're currently sitting.
That's what it sounds. Something around 2000, probably late 2018, early 2019, something like that.
Right, in April like 23rd.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever forget that day when I watched them offload, and I was just going, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I watched it at the dentist's office, and I watched it at home, and when you got 2 separate sightings and the same shit's going on hours later, it's like, wow.
I was just going to say this image on the left is kind of a similar situation, but I just wanted to show your drawing kind of example.
Right. And the bottom of the planets have these definite angled, rounded illuminations. And when the sun strikes on them, you see the offset cloud pattern. And because the sunlight is actually shining on that edge of the planet, and it causes it to heat up. Yeah, that's a killer shot.
Hmm.
And then straight up, you can see. Yeah, we talked about this one the other day.
Yeah.
And the dark planet above you. And there it sits, and it's like nobody notices that big, huge, round face and its moon in front of it.
Oh yeah, there was a crowd of like 30 people where I was at. I was up on Mount Olympus trail. There's a trailhead that I usually like to go up and take a walk to, but there was a crowd of like 30 people just sitting out there, and I was the only one taking video, and not a soul looked up. I'll never get used to that. I'll never get used to that.
Well, everybody expects it just to be weather. It's cloud, but boy, those are the weirdest looking clouds I ever saw. And like what we're looking at, it says illumination, and that's Attu's moon. And that was when it was predominantly over us, like 3 years ago.
Would you say Nipicity is behind it?
Yeah, but not in this one here. That's definitely Attu's moon, the way it's all bubbly, pockmarked, and we're probably looking, most of it is actual craters rather than atmosphere. And this, of course, you can see the definite lines of Uri going up at a repetitive pattern that we've seen 1,000 times. And there behind it, there is the illuminating asteroids in her atmosphere, which is why they're white and bubbly. Still show around the dark side of the planet because they're separate and above.
But I want to point out too the size, and this is the reason why a lot of people miss this, is because they can't fathom the size of this stuff. That little dot to the right is our moon.
Yeah. It always grabs me when I grab that reality and I'm staring at a planet, and then all of a sudden,
I didn't even see that.
There's our moon.
That is
it's insane.
Yeah. That is our moon, guys. Look at the comparison to that. That is insane. That's why I love using wide angle, because it just gives you more of a grasp of a grip of how big these things really are. That is insane.
We've seen this pattern so many times over the years, and this is how we've documented it. And the pictures of Uri in 2013, when it was smaller, and we could see it from one end to the side to the other in one picture.
Here's
and then in 2023, that also sort of matches the 2013 picture. Yeah, and when you see the same stripes on a planet over and over and over again, and it's not oddly different this time or that time, and it's always matching time after year, then you're right. And a lot of people have to take the time to start to understand that we've taken the time to learn these patterns, and we're not just throwing this on the card table for the first time.
Very repetitive sky filling right there, guys. Sky filling.
And on this one, you can even see the angled line going in front of Attu and Attu's moon. And that line is literally the southerly ring of Attu. Attu has a ring. And for about a week and a half, we were watching it again. And that was about 3 weeks ago, I think, where we saw it pretty repetitive around the world again. And, I would point it out to people more often, but I, tend not to want to distract the new people. So, every once in a while, I just won't even mention it. But yeah, there it is again. There it is again. There it is again.
Again, I know.
Yeah, and the ring has a tendency to go around Attu's moon. Attu's moon is on the inside of that ring. And we've seen that ever since 2013, 2014, even when Attu was first coming in front of Uri. and that was right after Uri's was small and then got much bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we watched that there was another smaller body in front of it, and it was purple. And then we saw the white body encased in clouds in front of Attu regularly, and then we figured out Attu had a moon. And then we got, all the way through the many years, we saw closer and closer and closer and massively, spooky close passes of Attu's moon. And we've documented that ever since. We've got thousands and thousands of those pictures. So it's, we've gone through all of these cycles. And so for the new folks out there just waking up to it, yeah, we've drawn pictures. We know what this looks like. We know a lot of the history on these planets because we've taken over a decade to acquire all this information. So, and I'll let somebody else talk while I have.
And it's very repetitive. It's very, very repetitive. These two pictures were crazy. I think there are also some that JD posted.
I think so too.
They were very, very cool pictures that he posted. She shared these. I think they're from who knows where, but they were very cool pictures as well. I like the reflection on the water on the left. That was
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
There it is. That's JD's. That's one of his. Yeah.
That's one of his. And there was a lot of similar captures that matched this one as well, right around the same time.
I was going to say, this one was also in Kansas.
Zane Berry's and his
They were the same day.
Yeah,
These two, the same day.
Identical match as well. That was very cool. Zane Berry's been hanging out your neck of the woods, in Oklahoma and Kansas.
Right.
Hello to Gator Sky Exploration. I'm sort of just looking over at the comments here. Sorry.
Gator Sky. I like that.
Yeah.
And
greetings from my
New Mexico.
My home. My neck of the woods. My old home anyway. So nice to have you here, fellow New Mexican.
Yeah. You can see,
I don't know how people miss this.
Well, I know this wasn't going on when we were young.
Yeah, this didn't exist. Of course, this is, I'm kind of tempted to say, yeah, okay. Glad we moved on. Yeah, we know what this is, and this is, of course, we're looking underneath Attu and Attu's moon and the asteroid connection, and Uri is actually above us and behind us. Wow. Which is why that reach goes the way it does.
See, what I want to say about. Can you go back to that one?
Okay.
Look at the clouds, the clear ones. Those are our clouds. Anything you see behind that, the little popcorn kind of clouds. That's a planet. Those clouds are not in our atmosphere, guys.
Yeah, that's the micro clouds, meaning they're way, way, way far away.
Yes.
And that's the atmosphere of Attu's moon and Attu.
See, this is how we have the separate atmospheres here. And I think people don't really get that concept sometimes, that you are seeing some of our clouds, and behind that you'll be seeing a completely different atmosphere that's not even in our atmosphere. It's way out.
I have some time lapse that will give you a good example of that. The different layers of clouds.
And it can be, it comes in many different colors as the, refractive colors of the planets around all of this is going and changing as well, too. And that's how, we've had numerous where we match them around the world where they match exactly the same thing, but even in different colors.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, where we do the citizen science comparisons that time after time after time, year after year, have matched to add to our collection of information and hundreds and thousands of pictures that we save and use and reuse and compare with.
That was cool.
You see that?
Cool. Yeah, that was.
You see that? Cool. It's just scooting right by.
That was so cool.
It's doing its own thing.
Yeah, but see, if you didn't know any better, especially because this is a time lapse, it's sped up. But if you're looking at this in real time, it would be very easy to miss. It would be very easy to miss.
And then you sit there and you go, why does the sky look so weird?
Yeah. Anytime that I see something that feels odd, I'll just set my camera to record because I know something is coming. Oh, look at that. We don't have, regardless of what Google may say, this is not normal. We don't have two separate, cloud systems going in completely opposite directions. It just doesn't happen that way. It doesn't work that way.
Rotate.
Yeah, you can see that.
And then people go, well, the sky looks like water. Well, yeah, because you do have flowing atmospheres that are, gaseous, almost liquid.
So Anna is asking, does the space station see these things?
Oh God, I don't want to imagine what they're seeing.
Well, you've even got a couple of captures of Uri from the space station.
Right.
Yeah, you were just showing one. When
the live space station would start to see these anomalies start to form, when they started coming in out of the misty dark, they would cut the feed. And we watched it for years happen over and over again. So I finally just stopped watching it. Plus, there was a big controversy where they're showing the ISS cam, and there was a bee that landed on that array right there to your left. And which proved that it was a sound stage studio, and they had a big screen in front of it, and they were playing old recordings from older years. Nobody would know the difference from what year to what year, and they just were, when the planets were so in their view they couldn't not show the truth. Then I'm sure they revert to stage studio videos, and then
but
you don't have beams landing on the array. I'm sorry.
A lot of people's explanation for that is that the Earth is flat. That's why the ISS is fake.
Oh boy.
And space is fake. And but that's a whole another kind of worms.
That's such a limited point of view. That actually scares me to fall into a tin can. It's like, ow. That is, and I'm not trying to mock them, but that's so small from what the reality of what's going on. Wow. And I don't mean to belittle them, but God, guys, come on, reach a little farther than flat Earth. Wow.
I think also what solidifies a lot of people, because flat Earth, like a lot of religious people are flat earthers because it goes hand in hand. So if they can get you by religion, then they can get you with flat Earth too.
Mankind is only 6,000 years old. Yeah, I heard that one.
But it's
wow.
I also think, though, Sam, that it's also very comforting to think that the world is flat, because you wouldn't have to think about asteroids and other passing planets and all that. So
being controlled.
In a way, I think it's kind of a comfort thing, of kind of picking the safest thing that aligns with
the firmament.
Exactly. So,
and then they say we're contained inside a larger planet, when we're cut off from view, and it's like, okay, that means somebody owns us, or we're in a fishbowl, and then they're going to reach for the big giant ET looking in on the fishbowl. Wow. Yeah. It piggybacks into even more controversial theories. Sorry. I just am, like dictating the stuff I've been sent over the years. It's overloaded my brain. I apologize.
Let me find a different video here.
Yeah, I've had everybody tell me every story that they ever heard of, and wow, if I had a nickel for every one of them, I wouldn't have to worry.
You know what gets me is that people will believe some crazy shit, but mention a planet and people lose their mind. I don't get that. Actually, when it comes to this, and I say this often to people, I don't understand why people think this is so. Planets and asteroids are a very common occurrence in space. I don't see why it's it's not as common for them to be as close, but it's not something that's completely out there that's unbelievable. Some of the things that people believe are way out there. And again, you mentioned something normal like a planet, and people just completely lose people. I just don't see.
And it never looks like what people think it's going to look like. It's not what you think it should look like. This is what it looks like, you know?
Yeah, the startup for that was a long time ago, and there were, back when they were smaller, and boy, everybody, I got to tease some people because God, where were you guys when when this started? You missed it. You missed out on so much of this fun, and I got to tease people a little bit because, wow,
Perfect example of different shades of the sky.
Yeah, and remember, the clouds below is our atmosphere, and they're flying above the atmosphere.
Always look at the light, guys, how sky is being lit up. If you're seeing uneven blues, dude, something is going on up there. Anytime you're seeing uneven blues, or you're seeing the light kind of just creep up from the bottom and not making its way up, it's because something is blocking. We don't have different colored blues. Our sky is it's just one color. It's supposed to be one color, but if you're seeing a darker blue, next to a lighter blue, something's happening, and pay attention to that. That's, pay attention to the lighting. That's one of the biggest tells is to just look at the color of the sky. If it doesn't match, you got dark blues, light blues.
Montana is big sky country, and it used to be a light pale blue when I was a teenager. All some nice beautiful cumulus nimbus clouds rolling in off the Pacific Ocean. Other than that, a little wispy this and that. We didn't have any of these dark crazies or the pathway clouds and big circles behind or in front of these pathways, or pock marks by the millions, or purple or green, or all these other weird blue skies and red skies. So people, this is really happening, and I you can't go outside without seeing it. It's there. Everybody sees it. They either aren't looking.
What's that?
They're either not looking, or they don't understand what they're looking at. And you can't miss it. It's everywhere above us, all day, every day.
Right.
No, but also what I was talking about with Mark recently is that I think people's disbelief is one of the biggest issues as well. Again, this is a very big topic, and this is things are happening in such a insane way that's just completely bananas, completely bonkers, that in a way I kind of get it, how people are like, no, that can't possibly be happening, and if I hadn't seen it over and over, I'd probably feel the same way.
Einstein's gravitational says, and everybody, the legend of Nibiru is the destroyer going to crash into us, and oh my God, we're all going to die, and it's going to be the apocalypse, and or it's going to turn us into zombies. We went through remember the I loved it when my kids first talked about the zombie apocalypse, and I went, you heard about that? Oh, Dad, it's on the internet. That's old. And it's like, okay. You don't tell kids that, but yet they find out about this crazy stuff. I very often see cars with bumper stickers about that. Yeah. Well, that's the zombie apocalypse is happening on Kensington Avenue right now. You can type that into YouTube.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's really sad, and I think a lot of those unfortunate people are really truly, they're lost, and they're looking for things, and they've never found anything. And that's part of, we can go on to the sociological part of what's wrong with our country, but there's a lot of people that truly believe that things are wrong, and everybody needs a little hope, and that's kind of, I hope, what we do here by telling you the facts of what's really happening. And we got to have a little level of reality here, and people need to get on board with this a little bit and pass it among their friends, and that way we're a little bit above 5 million on the view counts in TikTok or YouTube, right, or whatever. And because this is really drastically important, and we've taken over a decade to prove it, and people have to just get out and share this shit. It has to be accepted.
But I'm glad that you brought that up, Sam, because before I spent 2 years confused myself. Knowing something was happening, I would stare at the skies, and I had no idea why I would do that. I was just staring at the skies for for hours sometimes, just knowing, feeling something was out there. And the feeling of confusement and knowing that something felt wrong was wearing me down. Right around the time that I found you, it was driving me nuts. And when I understood what it was, it brought me a lot of peace of mind.
Our bodies are going through stuff too, our brains.
So now that you mentioned how some people are completely lost, probably because they know something is wrong, but don't really quite can put their finger on it. I'm a perfect example, and a lot of people that I've known, in these sky watching communities have felt the same way. How they were completely losing their minds, not understanding what was happening, but knowing something was wrong, and then they came across your information, and that brought them a lot of understanding and sense of peace of mind. Rebecca, I believe you told me the same thing. How it was so comforting just to finally understand what was happening. So anybody out there?
That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
Anybody out there who's seeing this, and if you feel that something is wrong, it's because something is wrong. Come onto our group, and we will teach you what's going on, and you could judge for yourself. This information is provable. You don't have to take our word for it. Just take the time, come join our group, and see what you think. Because it's happening, and you got to get on board, and we are here to open your eyes and kind of help you along on this journey, guys. So
people's bodies are rebelling against them too, because the harmonic planetary hum, and that's there's plenty of documentation and documentaries on YouTube on the hum that's being heard around the world, all the way from 2010, 13, 16, 18 again. It's sort of a cycle scenario where there's this harmonic trumpeting, some people called it, in the skies, and this sound of like a crossing ocean liner or never-ending planes, or a vibration in the ground that they're hearing and their ears are ringing and whying. And we've also seen people, with me included, experiencing like altitude change where your ears start popping weirdly, and disorientation, like you're seasick and all this sort of stuff. And there's probably a lot of people out there that are really suffering, and they don't know what the hell's wrong with them, and they start to hear this wall going off around them, and don't even really know what it's doing, and it's messing with people, me included. So there's a lot of harmonics, and because remember, we're not separate of the space that's going on out there. We're in it. We're swimming in it.
Yeah, I can in this latest close passing of Isatum and Nepacity, and even that too, has really felt that. For years my ears have just been off and on. I'm deaf. Sometimes they pop, sometimes I get earaches that'll just completely get me out of commission. So
my ears have been ringing all day. Noticeably loud today. Yeah, and this, these are these planets, and go to YouTube and type in the sound of the planets in space, and you'll get an education you won't believe. In physics, sound equals light equals matter, and you can look that up as well. There's a lot going on, and I think a lot when the planets moved in is when we first started hearing their harmonics, and I believe that's affecting the animals. I think it's affecting the oceans. I think it's affecting our sound waves. It might be affecting our weather, and we don't want to go to that the extremes of some of the conspiracy theories, but that also is affecting our cloud patterns in the sky as well. So, take harmonics into account and don't believe it's man-made. We've talked about that many times. A man-made conspiracy theory is easier to accept than a space-made one, or one that's farther beyond our control.
Yeah, people
Are you talking
nuts.
about?
People went nuts on that post recently that you mentioned about how it wasn't HARP. People went crazy on it.
Oh, I know. We got a bunch of people go, how do you know anything? And just bit into me. It's like, well, first of all, I have actually read
crazy thread.
I have actually read some classified documents dealing with that topic, and knowing that the receptor modules and everything else like that, and then I'm of course saying too much. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not even gonna. Can't even utter the word, okay? So I don't get in trouble. Let's just say that's really outdated technology, and there's a lot more going on. There's a really big thing in space that's putting out even more cool shit that you might want to focus on, and it's actually behind our star and attached to a whole bunch of planets. And that's another star, and it's even bigger, which is why we are super hot in November.
Yeah, and why we're seeing plants remain alive well into winter. Here in Salt Lake's a perfect example. I've seen grass, I've seen flowers popping up out of the snow, and that's not normal, guys. That is not normal. There's no fertilizer that can do that.
Right.
Yeah, it's just there's enough sun to keep that thing alive, even though the ground above it is frozen.
Yeah.
And it's got enough sunshine that it's not freezing itself, which is weird. Yeah. I drove down the street with my window down, and because I have factory tinted windows in my minivan, my mom mobile, or my Mr. Mom mobile, whatever you want to call it. And I rolled down the window, and I was just driving the last few miles to my house, and I literally was sunburned within a matter of a minute or two. I couldn't believe it. It was just like, holy cow. And then I went in the house, and it was still hot afterwards. And that's what surprised me, is how the side of my face really, really got a lot of sunshine in a very short time.
Yeah, that's what it was like just a few days ago. It was just intense. I couldn't even look up at the sky. It was just so bright.
Sorry, I was going to say, this picture on the right, the small, the black background, that was just recent. Like, it was just posted a couple of days ago.
I saw that post. That was an interesting post.
Yeah.
Went around and of course it matches what we've been watching on just to the right of the sun for,
which is
a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, the space tube. And
didn't you say it's like a shipping container, or like for gold?
Yeah, put the commodities on that big thing, huge. It's probably really, really massive. I don't know why.
Wow.
Of course, this could be a smaller version of it, or one and the same. There's a lot of ships we can't absolutely explain, and then there's a bunch of new stuff that we can't even basically claim. A whole bunch of. I saw a film. That's a rod. That's a smaller creature.
Okay, this is a small compilation of different crafts.
I saw one of the Millennium Falcon flying above someplace in California or something like that, and I sat there and I watched it, and I was really convinced by the soundtrack that went along with it. But I was going, God, is this photoshopped or is this not? And I had, of course, no way to prove or disprove what was what. So there's some amazing shit going on right now, and there's a lot of sightings of some really freaky craft. And of course, that which you're showing here is an actual life form from space, a rod.
So it's a being, is that what you're saying?
It's a creature, I believe.
Yeah.
I think they come in on the ships when they're close by, and people need to know there's alien craft landing all over all the time. I mean, it's way more than the sightings even capture or would imagine.
This is JD's.
Sorry, I had to take a sip of water.
This is JD's video.
Oh, no. Yeah, rod. Oh, okay. No, I think he's mixing that. Oh, wait a minute. That could actually, if that's a different clip than the rod that was just on.
It is. Okay. It is a different one.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, it's entirely possible he did capture that's a docking station for fighter craft, and I've seen that by eye, and that's why I did the drawing. Because I saw one of those things, and it had a couple of ships parked in it, and it also matches, if you go back to some of the Star Wars cartoons, on some of their sidebar characters, they actually showed Star Wars fighter craft docking stations, and that's exactly what they look like. Kind of spooky, you know. It's a craft, and it flies with the main deck and the frontal pod, and then they park in there, and then it flies around. And we have hundreds of sightings now where we're seeing the smaller craft flying in groups of 3 and stuff, and orbs and all sorts of shit.
Well, now as they're rising up above us, we're seeing the bottom of them right above
us. The current comet.
There's a lot of new stuff that we have yet to catalog and identify still. So a lot of new stuff happening that we have yet to identify.
Right. Only when we get multiple sightings, can we have comparatives before we can tag anything.
What I was getting at is that we're still in those stages of seeing new stuff that still needs to be cataloged and proven, before we kind of call it,
I think I'm going to hint that people need to look at what's the aurora factor that's going on currently. That has a lot to do with what's going on. They even published a picture of the Earth's northerly aurora in full complete photograph from NASA, and I was very surprised, and I wish I had saved that.
I did save it. I know what you're talking about. It was
that upper aurora is strongly indicative of what is all the other planets are doing since the second star.
That's exactly what it reminded me of. Of what I was talking about. How when these planets came and the second star came into intermix with us, a lot of the electrical activity that you saw on the poles from Saturn and even Mars, I think, have some electrical activity on the
right, and that's electron illumination.
Yeah.
Accelerated electron at the pole.
Kaylee is asking if I saw the aurora over Tulsa yesterday, and no, Kaylee, I didn't even know it was happening. So bummer.
Yeah, I got.
When did it? Around what time was it? I'm curious. Because I didn't even know it happened here. It was visible here.
Yep. Yeah. There's that nice weather that went through France that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. And there was more coming.
It's flooding everywhere. Everywhere's flooding.
And man, you don't even want to walk in that water. Of course, if you have no choice, you have no choice. But man, all the ubu and boo-boo that's in there, whoa.
I mean, just the fact that they got smiles on their faces says a lot, though.
Well, they're probably from a country that has no water. Wait a minute, they're from France.
This is Somalia.
Oh, Somalia. Well, they don't have water in Somalia, so they're going, oh, look at this is a gold mine.
Yeah.
But they don't, realize what else is swimming in there with them.
I just noticed in this video how red the sky looked, really red for nighttime.
Yeah. Well, I noticed the other morning at sunrise, it was unusually yellow too. So yeah, we got some really weird skies going on, some weird lighting and the cutoff and the pinched and the graying and all of this and the less light. And let's just hope that was a transitory couple of weeks and we're going to go back to being, sort of normal, which does not seem possible, but we'll see what happens. I'm shooting for good, but
the yellow hue as well has been very, very obvious here in Utah and in my area. It's been like a very dingy yellow.
We know we got a yellow moon nearby, and I'm sure there's a refractive effect from it as well. Just like we see, a refractive view of Attu on the side of Uri. A lot of times what we think is purplish Attu is actually purple colored Uri because of the refractive light color, or our skies being deep purple even at night numerous times. So yeah, that's the funny thing. The Panama Canal is drying out, the Mississippi is drying out, the Amazon is drying out, and here Saudi Arabia in the desert is becoming, almost tropical.
Going to get hotter worldwide. What's that?
That's an illuminated planet edge. That's the thing, everybody, that will actually turn into an illumination almost looking like a winged dragon.
I'm gonna back up a second so I can see it again.
Yeah.
But illuminated planet edge. Okay.
Yeah. When the sun shines on the side of a planet and we're seeing the dark side of it, the immediate edge becomes slightly illuminated. See that edge?
Okay, yeah, I see.
And that's a warble edge that's being illuminated, and then you're seeing an illuminated effect. That could even be the ion tail of Saturn's yellow moon. But the light is breaking on it, and then that's why it becomes visible. Because it was there, it's just now kicking out of stepping in, see?
Right.
And this is apparently through a green lens, which is obviously good capture, but not really okay. Yeah, that could be ion tail of a Saturn yellow moon. Yeah, good old normal weather here, right? Yeah. Venezuela.
He's chilling.
He's just chilling, smoking.
Yeah.
It's incredible how all this has gotten so normal.
Yeah, it's 70-mile-an-hour winds, tearing trees down. 100-mile-an-hour winds tearing, houses to shit. And then you get the rainfall, and then, half your village is washed away. Look at that. Yeah, that's Acapulco, that Category 5 that hit a week and a half ago.
Wow.
And these extreme storms are happening because the volatility, I really think that all that moisture that's out of the Panama Canal or the Mississippi River or the Amazon is being literally boiled off into our upper atmosphere, which is causing these repeated, more powerful northern hemisphere hurricanes, powerful storms, rotational highs and lows. When cold meets hot and all of that, and it's all dumping together in new ways, like we talked about, where there's a triple jet stream instead of a dual winter jet stream for the United States. So we're going to see a really freaky set of winter and stuff coming here. Because look, Europe is getting it again, and then it'll be us, and then them, and then us, and then them. And we've seen that pattern for how long, Rebecca?
Ever since I've been involved. I know it was happening before that, so
like 2 weeks on, week and a half on, 2 weeks on here, 2 weeks there. They get it, we get it, they get it, we get it. And it's
right.
We tried to document it, and then of course this is the end of the 180-day cycle, which also we documented extreme storms, and here they are. The old backlit crescent flare. Sun shining around and out, and it focals out the backside.
I have to study it every time I see one of these because because an asteroid also looks very similar.
I get confused sometimes. What I'm looking at sometimes when I see that.
But
that could be multiple asteroids and the Texas Cube. The Texas Cube can also put off a backlit box flare instead of a crescent. When the sun goes around an object and it'll focal through and out to the backside around it, it puts off. That's why it's more brilliant orange in the back, showing you it's a more centralized focaling.
It does look like a cube, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of asteroids right there. It could be the Texas Cube.
It just has a straight line, and then it makes a sharp corner.
Right. Straight flat line rather than a crescent.
So, hello.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Attu's moon right above it.
Yep, and Attu behind that, and then of course Uri to the left, and it's over and over, constantly the same. Yeah, look at Dubai. This is a desert country.
Jesus. Wow.
Saudi Arabia is a desert country, and some of their prophecies talk about when the rivers return to Jordan and all of that.
All right.
So this is completely not normal, and then the central troposphere of the planet is now flooding out, and they're in the middle latitudes in the hot desertous regions. I watched a really cool thing the other day on YouTube, of course, about the pre-Sahara desert and how many excavations and things they're finding. You know, all these old whales and all the, you know, of course they're talking millions of years back, but yeah, okay, we got fun stuff. Yeah.
What do you think this is, Sam?
Oh, well, we are okay. 10/27/23, San Diego. We are in the well, it's stabilized and stopped. Change direction. Okay. Very interesting. Those are craft because they've stalled. Yeah, squadron. That's the squadron that just came in for you know, recon.
Crazy.
Wow, like I was saying, you know, what, a half hour ago, there's a lot more craft coming in regularly that, you know, people don't see, and they've been coming and going for many years, and there's a certain number of you know, people they're allowed to interfere with, if you want to call it that, and abduction licensing, which both sides have broken the treaty. There's a close up of orbs, so it's probably a squadron of orbs. Wow. You know, coming in doing some sort of recon above San Diego. Okay, that shows you what ships are in, you know, the San Diego military area. We're kind of active right now on the world with popping our boats all over the place. We're a bunch of ships, unfortunately, in the Mediterranean right now, which I wish we weren't involved in. But I wonder why the cheesehead, if that's San Diego.
Yeah, it's this guy's channel. He does, that's his thing. The cheese hat.
Well, isn't that like,
he shows up on my
Wisconsin or something?
On my TikTok.
Yeah, that's where he's at.
He cracks me up.
I'm sorry, I don't know the man.
I mean,
he's ridiculous, and you know, in a funny way.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what?
This was
plug his name. I mean, you know, we gotta share with YouTubers.
I don't know what his name is, but I do know that he hasn't a clue what's going on.
I'll find out.
But he occasionally shows some cool stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. Like I keep plugging, you know, my favorite YouTubers, you know, like
I will say, I mean, he does have a pretty
Ghost Town, you know, Brett.
Right. Yep.
It was much more I could plug, you know, like Beard Meat. Did you guys watch Beard Meat Food?
I haven't seen him.
Beard Meat Food?
In a little bit, yeah.
I haven't. I keep forgetting.
I watched some today. And
I need to write it down.
Yeah, at the end of every one of his shows got a smile on my face. And that's why I watch him for a really nice distraction. And, you know, I there's, you know, a handful of them I watch. You know, I watch Escape of Rural France, and he's building this chateau from a burned out chateau that's been empty for 30 years and all of this. And, you know, I watch a bunch of stuff. And when there's YouTubers out there, I try to promote them as we would hope they promote us. Paraguay. Where exactly is Paraguay? Is that near Spain? Am I wrong, or Paraguay, is that in the Indonesian area? I don't know where Paraguay is. I better look it up.
Isn't that South America, or am I wrong?
Sounds tropical.
Let's find out.
Yeah, probably sounds tropical.
It says it's a country in South America.
You caught me.
I thought so.
Okay, because I did not know where yeah. It's not near the Mediterranean, I promise you. Okay. My geology lesson for today is I'm really interested in what AI can teach for school. They've talked about applications for teaching AI personal assistant for school. I'm really interested in that.
You know, I heard somebody say that they're rolling out AI slowly because they're not sure if we're quite ready for what changes it's going to bring, to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a definite question of reality and overstepping the ease of which the information is available and or could be tainted and misdirected.
Probably both.
I can see the lead object really good.
I watched a series on that this week, as a matter of fact.
What gets me about AI is that I feel it's going to be a level of more control.
Right, too. It can be manipulated into teaching you in irregular ideas. Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they will always have people using these things for for whatever agenda it is they want.
Well, technology. Have you ever listened to the rock album by Rush, 2112?
I have not.
Oh, you missed an icon. Rush, the Canadian band Rush.
Yeah, I know the band.
There's an album, and it came out approximately 1976, maybe 77, 78, probably 76, 77. And I've listened to it all my life, and it's 2112, and it's where this guy finds a guitar in a cave and learns to play music, and he finds that the temple people in his civilization are running everything, and the people are just controlled by the temples and the priests, and it's a really good rock opera, and I can pull up and grab you a copy in a heartbeat and send it to you right now if you'd like. And it's there's a cartoon that goes along with it, and it's really good.
Oh, interesting. And yeah. Send me
I'll do that now if you'd like, but then you guys can talk about something.
I was going to say, like right here for a half a second, it shows the planet just really well. You see that, Jesus? Like it's almost reddish color, but it's just, there it is all across the sky, and then it hides behind its right there. See, it's like clear almost. So that's like, it's not clear, but the clouds become really translucent and you can see the planet right there.
Wow. You can see it go a little dark as well, yeah.
Right. It just happens for a blip.
See, the darkness is a big, very big towel, guys.
Right there. You see all the craters?
Yeah.
Strange. Yes. You can just see it, and then its clouds cover it really quickly.
And there it goes, yeah.
Right.
I always pay attention
I don't know if you can hear that or not.
To how it's lit. You'll always see light at the bottom where it's closest to the sun, and it just goes darker as it goes up. That's a towel. That is a very big towel. That's usually what I'm looking for. It's shadowing and uneven lighting. How it's dark here though the sun is still out.
Right.
I just posted it on Facebook PM in a dual Rebecca and you, and I think me link. So
I'll check it out.
You should have a pop up. I don't know if you can hear it playing in the background. I'll kill it, but yeah, I sent you the link. Took just a second to do. It's a really good message. It talks about freeing our mind, and go back to the topic at hand with AI. Of course, it's like I truly believe that part of the movement of people that are being aware of this subject, and the people who are awakening up to this subject are doing so for a reason, and there are a certain type of people and a certain self-rebelling group of people, I would hope, that would always know the truth when they saw it or heard it versus the bullshit meter that I hope they also have. So, I always believe that the human spirit's going to outride anything, and including some of our, diversity issues and some of our other issues that we can see the proper way through, above and different and separate of the standard norm that everybody else seems to want to accept or try to forget about and let pass. And I've never been one of those people that ever settled for what somebody just told me.
Yeah.
Which is the main topic of everything I've tried to just say.
I know a lot of people, and I especially like in my household, who if it's not on TV, they don't believe it.
And if it is on TV, then they do believe it. That's scary too.
Yeah. I had a discussion actually with a family member a while back. I showed him some pictures, which were pretty undeniable, and his rebuttal was, well, where's the pictures from NASA? Where's the pictures? I'm like, well, good luck with that.
I'm sorry, but NASA is no longer a reliable source of information, and we've got them in several hundred lies.
They never really were.
Yeah, no. Oh, and they give out tidbits, and then they don't give you the rest of the story.
Well, they give you enough to cover their ass, is what they do.
Well, to lull you into it. Okay, I learned something cool from NASA today, and then you move on and forget about it 3 days later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they don't give you enough. Boy, look at that. That's an awesome picture.
I was curious what you thought that was.
That's Attu's moon with lead asteroid just behind the tree back there. And
is that the lead object? That
behind the tree on the left. That's the side of Attu's moon.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
It just seems so that's a lot smaller for Attu.
It is. Attu's moon is considerably smaller currently.
Right. But you're drawing. Okay.
And that's why I've been very surprised. But I mean, when Attu's moon goes over the top of us, it's still immense and very bubbly. But the approach angle has changed, where they are higher up, and they used to be at the waistline, and they come up right at us and then pass over us. But now they're passing at a different angle, where they're going literally more down on us after they've passed. It's hard to describe, but. And of course, everybody's view is different. Yeah, there's rounding we talked about last week, where you can see the asteroid path as it goes around the corner as the planet above rotates. And they're connected. That would probably be the spiral asteroid.
Wow.
I got a really good open core of Nepesi shot in today. And the lady says, I wonder what this is. And it's like, wow, okay, we've been talking about it for how many years? And this is, of course, a new person that, they don't necessarily automatically know.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is we've talked about it for so long, one would hope that they would know.
There's a lot to take in to remember.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And,
there's so many
right.
titles and labels and names. And
and I, of course, take a lot of this for granted because I know it also overly, and I've said it, 10,000 times. And so a lot of this stuff gets completely normal to me that other people go, what?
It is a little overwhelming, though. I remember when I first came to Montana Skywatcher, Sam, I was overwhelmed. It was a lot. Had I not had such a passion for the skies,
I apologize.
I might have just been like, this is a lot for people.
I didn't mean to overwhelm you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But it is a lot. It is a lot. And I think if you're kind of bored by this topic, you're not gonna learn much. It's one of those things that if you're not fully interested, you're not really gonna be fully engaged and long enough to learn it, because it's all
right. You go, it's just a cloud, and then you move on.
But once you see it, I think, somebody was telling me, you take the best picture. I often, somebody tells me, you take some really cool pictures. I said, look, once you understand what you're looking at, anybody can take some crazy pictures, you know.
Right.
Once you see it, and once you understand what you are seeing, anybody can take some very, very phenomenal pictures.
And part of understanding is understanding the angles of light. You have to understand how the light is coming in and where it's coming from and where it's going to and why it looks so dark blue above where the light should be. It's supposed to be lighter.
That's where I learned my camera skills, is how to get that right light angle and how to get that shot in frame without, you know, the light kind of ruining my shot, which it does sometimes still, but that's how I learned my.
And it also goes back to the main premises that you also have for the new people. A lot of people automatically look at the light in the picture. They look at these white clouds, but if you actually understand the premise, boy, there sits the Texas cube. Okay, hello, and that is the front face of Attu, and Yuri is behind it, and you got to look at the dark blue first and then work your way to the light. And that's how I automatically know. You can see the rounded face of Attu and the warble and the illuminated.
So the obvious curved area is Attu's moon?
No, Attu.
Okay. So I'm
Attu's moon is above it.
I get it. Okay.
And then you got because you have the Texas cube right there in the upper left corner. See the box?
Uh-huh. Yes, I do.
And so we know that the object in front, dead center at the bottom, would probably be red asteroid and little sister, from if this is a current photo. And then over to the left will be spiral asteroid, which it is, but it's darker and blue.
Yeah.
And then we see the facial. In the upper right corner, we see the thinner facial lines, and we know that has to be Yuri behind Attu. So, and then her asteroids, etc. So it just falls into, if this is a current picture, then it falls into that.
Pretty sure it is. Yeah. I was gonna say, here's an example. Wait.
Oh, I like that one. Oh.
Right. So that is aim. Let me go back. So is that basically?
Yeah, sort of.
Similar.
Yeah.
Area. East, left of our sun, asteroids. Not the same for afternoon.
You're patching out.
What's that?
I said your voice is patching out.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe we lost Jesus.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for him. It makes a beep when people come and go, so.
I hope we're not having internet issues.
Dude,
Yeah, you're locking up. Testing 1, 2, 3. Anybody here? Montana Skywatcher calling. Playing. Oh, look, I'm the only one here. Oh, wonderful. Yes, you too could have this once in a lifetime offer. Montana Clean Air. Free plastic bag sent to you. Hello.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? It just booted me.
Well, you kept skipping out, and you sounded more like a computer voice than, and then I heard less and less, and then your picture locked up, and then Jesus is gone, and so I was, talking to myself there for a little while.
Yeah, right. Well, you're not alone. We got 23 people with us.
No, there's always me and me.
Right.
And don't interrupt me when I'm talking to myself. Is I have a T-shirt that says that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's for their best good.
Yeah.
Right.
And Carol Ann says, I can hear.
Yeah, she can hear us. There's Carol Ann. We got Sabrina with us.
It says Sam is the only one on. It's like, hello, hi out there. You know.
Yep. Yeah.
I started, a commercial for Montana Free Air, because we have good air here, mostly, depending on, which town you're in.
So what kind of, like when you were in, was it radio?
Yeah.
Like, was it a certain show, or was it like music that you were hosting, or what were you doing?
Well, no, when I was on an FM station for a very short time.
Yeah.
And I just did, a scheduled DJ run. And I didn't totally agree with the music that they were playing, but I mean, it was a job, so I did it. And it was country and some, late 70s stuff. So
yeah.
And I didn't last long because I read the news from the teletype, and it hadn't gone through approval first, and I got in trouble for that.
Oh, I remember.
It wasn't anything special, but I actually read something straight off the teletype because I was bored and didn't stop to think, and did it, but just purely out of being silly. And so anyway, and then I've done a bunch of voiceovers for TV commercials and things like that.
Cool. Well, yeah, I talked to my son also about recording. So my phone replaced, it will help, record and make something out of it. So he's all excited about it.
Yeah, flattered. If you have a really good microphone and you can put it through a soundboard and do all sorts of stuff. I mean, if I had money, it'd be a different story. If we had a team, a production team, like, Radio Wasteland used to have a really good production team, and we miss them dearly. Whatever happened to them, we hope they're okay. And folks, if you do want to see some of our old information, go look up the shows from Radio Wasteland on YouTube. And some of those views are up to 6,000 and 7,000 views. And I wish they were a lot higher. I wish people would go after the older information. I ran into a local guy here. He said he very much enjoyed the shows and they were very informative. So I'm also hoping that everybody does listen to the shows regularly. And not that I want to have to do that many shows to get this word out, but at the same time, maybe it will help work people in with a saga base level of information over time. Because like Jesus was saying, and we still lost him.
I sent him another invite, and I just want to tell Gators Sky, if he's still with us, he or she, thank you for watching. They're going to check out and go to bed probably. So thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully they'll be back again. And Sabrina is with us, and she's got emojis like them. And Facebook user tells us that they were a DJ at a nudie bar. Okay.
Yeah, hey, now that's a job with benefits.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah.
Okay. that would be a hard regular introduction scenario.
Right.
Oh.
Where do you work?
Yeah.
What do you do? Yeah.
And here we go. Here comes danger, whatever.
I lost I had everything kind of pulled up that I was going to, talk about. And when I shut down, it shut everything down. Looks like Jesus is back, though.
Yeah, it kicked me off again.
It's just a black box, though.
Well, Rebecca started locking up to me, and so I was the only one here for a little while, and it was okay. I was being really silly.
So it wasn't just me.
No, we went through. There was an internet thing. It was a glitch.
I think Sam stayed on the whole time.
Yeah, I was, which is odd, but I'm sorry, guys. It was me. I messed it up. Blame me.
Can you see me, guys?
I can see you.
I can see you. Fine.
You're totally visible.
Okay.
And I don't see any ghosts tonight.
No way. My phone was very overheated and it's draining my battery. Something crazy. So I can't charge because I turned it off and put it next to the fan and kind of cooled it off for a little bit. But I don't want to charge it because it's a little overheated. So
Right.
we'll stay on as long as we possibly can. But,
Okay.
I mean, I still
totally get it.
I still got a good charge, but I'm gonna have to just run off that for now. I really need to get me a laptop or something like that. I'll probably work on that here soon. But yeah, doing it off the phone isn't gonna work forever. But I'll look into getting something. But we're back, so
we're back. I know.
How long did it kick you off, Rebecca? Or did you just come back?
Seconds.
Yeah, really gone for 30, 35, 40 seconds at the most. And meanwhile, I was just, playing, radio voice going, hi, hi, from Montana, blah, blah, blah.
In the tweet.
I knew I was the only one there because my picture was the only one up. So
that's from Carol Ann.
Hi, Carol. I love you too.
Yeah.
Always good to see you here.
Let me see what else I have to show everybody.
Yeah, your voice went glitchy there for a second again.
I heard of that.
Dang.
You're now turning into a computer.
Yeah.
Are you serious? I'm turning into a computer?
No, just your voice went me, or it did the sound changes. If
right.
I think they may not have liked that we were talking about AI.
Or we were actually talking about Attu and Attu's moon, and sometimes it does happen when we get a little bit descriptive and start talking about current events. Then Rebecca and I have in the past been disconnected on many occasions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it does happen, and let's hope the right people listen to it, not the wrong people. Although they're more than welcome to, but wow.
I was trying to pull a video up, but it just keeps, I don't know, it gives me an error each time.
People really got to get on board that this is not just a pretty sky. This is dangerous asteroids going from the bottom of Uri. Well, there was a loud squeak. From the bottom of Uri, underneath on Uri onset, and these asteroids, and they're whoppers. They are just huge. I mean, they're massive, and they're going past us on a regular basis. And some of this is really dangerous. And we saw some really good over the top of us footage in the last week where people were taking shots of it straight up. And I don't know how many times I posted the drawing of the TAN asteroid, salamander asteroid group picture that I drew last month. I must have posted that 20 times in the last week to a lot of people, or if not, or in the last few days, I should even say, because I posted it a lot in a very short time. And like we discussed on other shows, is when the common sightings come in, I end up posting the same picture over and over and over again.
Sam, as they pass over us, do you think these, their asteroid fields are going to get a little bit more closer, and maybe we'll be a little bit more at risk of, another Chelyabinsk kind of scenario?
I've wondered about that. I've expected it ever since 2013. I would sooner call that we're going to see a discharge electrical event. Now we did see there's the 2018 Boxing Day event where a close pass, and it was right at that was right after Christmas, Boxing Day, which is a European holiday or English. Excuse me, dry throat and the cough drop didn't help. And there was the San Francisco discharge storm and the South Dakota discharge storm of 2019 and 2020, and the close pass events are usually severe extreme winds and lightning discharges. Now there's a big, huge, massive storm going to hit the Northwest here apparently in a couple of days, and I just looked it up this morning, but I haven't looked into it yet. And we're supposedly going to get some flooding, or God only knows what, but they're kind of warning ahead of time. There's a picture. That's the bottom of something. I don't know where the sun is on this picture to fully call it. I know it's to the right, but that would mean that this would have to be Saturn's yellow moon.
Hopkinson. I think I'm saying that right, Hopkinson. But she is wanting to know. She had a question about the sky turning orange for like a split second on different cams at different areas. I don't know if that rings.
Well, it depends on the direction of the crescent of the illumination. Orange, of course, could be, even just on the bottom of misty clouds from a refractive angle color off planet Saturn as well, or natural redding of sunset, which happens, but not near as red as it has been in recent weeks and months. We got a new background noise, but that's okay. Maybe
it sounds like a radio or something.
Yep, that's those guys talking in the tin can in that little back room somewhere. Eating donuts and drinking coffee.
Yeah, out in the van somewhere.
Yep. Enjoy the jelly fill.
Night angles at at sunset and sunrise, I think sometimes cause that as well.
Yeah, right. That's what I was saying. The red at sunset, normal, but then not in levels that we've seen these huge, massive red.
Yeah.
That's probably red asteroid and little sister. Right there.
Yeah. Anytime I see swirls, I just think asteroids. I can't tell which ones.
Level.
Yeah.
The size. That's probably axis tip Nepicity.
Yeah.
There's a perfect example of what you were talking about at the sun hail, how sometimes it goes, beneath the horizon, and sometimes it doesn't. That's how you can tell if it's Imaru or just ice crystals
or a focal photographic sundog.
Yes,
you would see that circle go all the way down in full circle on the photograph. Although you do see the refraction of the sun on the water surf in the sand, but that doesn't count. Yeah, I believe that the angled tip slightly higher than what it used to be, Nepicity, reaching over with like the spiral asteroid cutting off just above the sun, reaching over to the other planets as well.
Also, I wanted to mention too, now since we're talking about similar topic. If you're I've been seeing a lot of people posting stuff that looks like lens flares, and they're a little. Some could be, some might not be. But if you're ever when in doubt, thumb whatever light source, the sun, or cover it with your finger, as you're taking the picture, and if it disappears, it's a lens flare. If it remains there, then you got something. But
right, and also never come through glass.
Lens flare and something that's actually there. Just block the sun or block the moon, whatever light source is there, and if it disappears, then you have a lens flare. If it remains there, then you have something, something.
Yeah. Don't shoot through your car windshield.
Yes.
Step out. Don't take pictures while driving either. Pull over. Get out of your car safely. Don't get hit on the highway.
I'm guilty of that one.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to mention.
In my defense, it's I have a handheld camera, and I'm very good at maneuvering it. I know where I gotta hold it, and so I'm pretty safe about it. And I never do it in heavy traffic. But it's I drive for a living, so I tend to.
I'm like, don't do as I do. Just.
But yeah, don't. Yeah. I don't recommend that to anybody.
You blue clicked on a swear word. Oh my God, people are swearing in here.
We should this the sun simulator idea.
Patooey.
I mean,
Patooey. Yeah.
That's
Next, you can't even entertain Sun Simulator. I'm terribly sorry. We have not seen anything that would give that indication in over 13 years. Next.
And also, we wouldn't really need one, or
why would we need one?
regardless of the issues with the sunspots and everything, I mean, it's working just fine.
And how the hell would you power it? And then they talk about, well, what if something? And I've been through this same discussion. Oh God, dozens of times, where they go, well, what if something was blocking our real sun? And I said, well, what would that be? And then they stop. And I'm going, well, the planets move. So if they were going to block the sun, it would be only temporarily, and wouldn't be, permanently. And then the people goes, and then they immediately dive into the Bible and they go, well, but the 3 days of darkness. And then over time that went to the week of darkness. And, and people have got to realize that we're directly connected to our star, and any pinch off, which we have documented occur, do cause some of these light issues. And yet most people don't even notice it's happening, which is, I mean, almost comical. There's days I just sit there and I look around and it's just like everybody's doing their thing normally and they don't even notice. And that's what blows me away. It
drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I can't tell you how often I'm like, really? Nobody is gonna acknowledge this? It's something I repeat over and over, and I will never get used to it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, how can you? Okay,
I'm seeing. I don't know definite numbers, but it sure seems like 95% of what we see is completely natural effect of these nearby planets, asteroids, crafts. Natural.
I didn't mean to offend that
man-made
about Sun Simulator, but it wasn't my intent to offend them. My intent was to walk away from the premise that oh God, a lot of people, just because there's a patent doesn't mean there's one up in space. And we have in this entire time never ever seen anything that would even remotely come into the realm of a capture of one in function. And we've had a few people share some stuff on the Money Boys channel, but I mean, now of course there's no backup of what these pictures actually were. So, and they were so micro and non.
They were props. A lot of the pictures on YouTube were just movie props. I think one of them was a movie prop for Chicken Little or something.
I saw that Millennium Falcon video today, and I swear to God, it was just like, and I wanted to keep a copy of it, but I didn't because it was just too real. It's like, no, I can't go there, And now if I see another couple videos and it still matches, then I'll go, okay, because I entirely believe that what we've been handed in movies is got a larger purpose to it, to do one of two things or both on purpose, is to get us ready for the information and to also sterilize us into a numbness of acceptance. Yeah, like that being, the back end of the Millennium Falcon, if you think about it, it's like, holy shit. But I saw what I saw was this spinning thing, and it was just looked so damn real, and it sounded so real, it was unbelievable. But yeah, there are microships, and the landers come down from the bigger shit. And this could be just another lander, and there's thousands of them, I swear and I promise. People have to realize that wondering if UFOs exist is no longer the case. It's like, Christ, if you don't look around now, you're not seeing, as you even show on your graphics, the show of a lifetime. It truly is.
But I also think a big problem now, Sam, too, is that we have an oversaturation of false pictures and false videos that I think people are because because people are seeing this happen so heavily, they tend to dismiss a lot of it as just another fake thing.
I'm glad some of them do, but boy, look at this. You can't fake this.
Jesus, that is wow. I love this one. This is one of my favorite videos. This is so cool.
This has got to be a Saturn and a Saturn's yellow moon in Nibiru.
God, that is so
It has
cool.
to be.
And then you could also see how it's its own separate. You know, it's not like moving with our atmosphere. It's like completely separate. I don't see how people don't really grasp that it's not anywhere near our atmosphere.
Yeah, look at the blue.
Way out there.
Look at the blue over on the left-hand side of the real sky with a little tint of yellow to it. And that's the real sky. And that all that red and dark area and orange and pink here, that is a shadowed bottom of a very, very large planet. And that, by the look of it, that looks like the fingers of Nibiru.
Wow.
And Nibiru is massive.
Jesus Christ! Wow.
And then over here, you probably got a couple others in the spin around view.
Good God, that's so cool.
That looks like fingers of Nibiru, and that goes back. We have pictures from 2011, 2012, 2013 that match those as wider out fingers of Nibiru. And
wow, that is so
a pointy
cool.
center-based cloud.
Jesus, that is so cool. Such
and
cool
and you can't argue with the coloration. It's telling you it's right there because it's so completely obliviously different than the other sky over to the left here, in the yellow and the light blue. And you can see that the cloud base of reality clouds down on the lower horizon area are much wispier and thinner and nothing compared to everything above. And then there's
I wonder what the context of this video was. Is what I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't remember where I found it. I think YouTube.
Oh, it looks like it's back east from the trees and the level. There's no real mountain ranges anywhere. So it's probably back east. I'm usually pretty good at that by judging my flora, fauna, and horizons.
There's this guy that I've been following for some time. You know, he has some crazy ideas about what's happening, but he has some very cool videos. His name is Seven Spalding. You guys ever see his channel?
I know who he is.
Great footage, but God, the guy has crazy. Just, I mean, the shit that comes out of his mouth sometimes.
Yeah. There are a few of those too.
He's
like
a great guy. You know, very, very kind. You know, soul. You know, I get a very good vibe from the guy, but he seems to be a little confused about what's happening. But God, he takes some cool videos.
One too many books in the kids' library.
Yeah, but God, does he take some cool videos sometimes. Wow.
And I didn't mean that in a bad way. I meant that in that the imagination level is
yeah. No, a perfect example.
I mean, hallelujah to those who do. I mean, you know.
And that's the problem when not knowing sometimes, that you assume some really crazy shit.
Well, I'm unfortunately a little overly scientific, and I know of other extremes through the realms of magic and lore and fantasy and fairies and elves. And if you go back and study what the meaning of the word elf or elvis or elvish or etc., if you understand where all of this comes from, it makes more sense. But I'm a little more scientific than I am Walt Disney fantasy. And I wasn't saying that they are, but I mean, there's an extreme realm of depth that some people search into and don't have a level of belief in. Like one of Mark's guests, she was obviously slightly well informed about tarot cards, but some people believe in some things and some levels of behavior and how they live their lives and stuff that vary from my point of view is all what I meant to say.
Caroline, yes, exactly. You know, they're way out there, just huge, and not as close as that they may appear.
Yes, yeah. You know, we're all used to that little sticker on the bottom of our rear view outside mirrors on our car. Objects may be closer than they appear.
Exactly.
Or more, in this case, farther away than they appear.
This video is just absolutely insane.
Talk about close.
Yeah, and that's I swear to God, this is the close past 180. You know, when we're talking asteroid clusters and Uri onset, and you wonder why I post that thing that says you've been warned. And remember, we were watching that on. Remember how often Lucinda was posting those overview radars. And we haven't seen them for the longest time. I don't know what happened to the lynx even, because I haven't watched them in a long time. But there was some really feverish onset to this as well, over and over again, where we see this time after time after time. And that's kind of what this is here. But this is direct actual visual from the ISS. So, and they're out there, radar flyby computer graphics. I can't even remember the link name.
Right.
And I wonder, I think I lost a link on my last computer. And I think Lucinda used to post a lot of that stuff regularly, and then it quieted down for a while, and then so it wasn't regularly used. But I should scroll through some of my old marks and see if I can find it. I mean, that's exactly it. This shit floats past us and you wouldn't believe it. And people are getting sightings at night, and they're wondering, and these illuminations and all this shit. And this is why we see all these circular objects with weird trails around them just above our heads in the sky. And everybody's going, I don't know what I captured, but well, you're capturing asteroids. There is shitloads of them above us. Very, very close right now.
Yes, somebody was mentioning the different shapes that they see in the sky, and that's basically what you're seeing is asteroids.
And when Yuri goes over the top of us, she's got this entire Kuiper belt full of debris in her rings and her lower. We've noticed that the most of the asteroids and moons and everything in the Nibiru group are in the southern hemispheres, where our planets and orbits and moons in our solar system seem to be in the upper hemispheres of the planet. That could be just point of view, or that could be the electrical distribution between the binary system being of one polarity versus ours being of another. And that's why I believe. Go ahead.
When you said that really resonated with me, because that is really what we have been seeing.
And why we repel each other.
Everything that's attached to them is on their lower hemisphere,
and we repel each other, and we don't steal each other's planets, because we know that the system is stable and it happens cycle after cycle after cycle, and there's no catastrophic event other than the Earth effects and planetary changes and climate change and all of that. But there's no major stellar effects where things destroy each other. There are changes among the body, including the outer planets of our solar system also heating up, and I'm sure they have stabilization issues and changes climatologically and gaseous changes on their moons and all sorts of stuff as well going on. So we don't, this could be just part of the normal growth of the solar system, and there's no way for humans to even document that because of our short-lived, etc. The whole system, the ticking of the clock in millions of years rather than hundreds. Yeah. Here we have there's a great example of the Tan asteroid and the Salamander asteroid group coming in, and it's damn close. And we've been watching it all week long again. And this is what I was talking about, the overhead views, where people say, this is right over my head right now. And this is why I kept posting for years. You were warned, because here we go.
Trying to get a certain video.
I'm not trying to cause fear. I'm just, it's facts, not fear. But hello, it's happening, and I'm expecting some really severe shit to happen anytime now. The other shoe to drop, as they say. And
I as I was saying, recently when I was on the show with Mark,
I'm gonna step away a second.
We're not trying to spread fear. We're trying to spread awareness, but we do want to be realistic about, things that can happen, or can and probably will happen.
Yeah. Well, Bryce, did you think that the people in France last week or 2 weeks ago were thinking that this was going to hit? They barely knew. I think they were given maybe a 12-hour warning that the storm was coming, but they didn't describe what was coming.
And, as most people say, well, we can't control what's going to happen, so whatever. Being informed is a big thing. Guys. Being informed, being knowledgeable of what's happening around you is very important. And will make the difference, when shit hits the fan. there's going to be a lot of people very confused, and some of us will know exactly what's happening and maybe know exactly what to do. You know, that's worth knowing and learning this topic.
I believe this is the Toreador song from the opera Carmen.
You're right.
I was chuckling about that, going, "Oh, the Toreador!" And you know what is hilarious is that I know that. That's what's funny. I've seen so many operas, fortunately and unfortunately. I mean, you know, that was my education. I ended watching a lot of operas. Anyway.
Well, yeah. we have the Mormon Symphony here, which people have recommended so much, but
my parents were on the Mormon Tabernacle Choir in the 60s.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, they lived in Salt Lake for quite a few years when they first immigrated to the United States.
Oh wow, no kidding.
Yeah, I was raised Mormon.
I'm sorry. Wait, what did you say?
I was raised Mormon, holy clothes and everything, and then outer.
That's funny. Rebecca was telling me that the other day, and I had a similar. It's why I'm in Salt Lake. In fact, my younger brother did the whole mission thing. You know, my parents were, you know, did the whole Mormon thing. I grew up coming to Salt Lake, you know, very often to do the whole Mormon thing. Of course, religion is not for me, but it was how I grew up. So. Rebecca was telling me that the other day about you, and I had no idea. That's interesting.
Yeah, my father was, and my mother came from Amsterdam in, I believe 1951. After my father was a slave laborer during World War II in a concentration camp.
Oh,
and yeah, and he was a teenager. He was like 18, 19, 20 years old, and right in the middle of World War II in Amsterdam, Holland, during the invasion. And my mother was living in Rotterdam when it was bombed and all of that. So that's my background. And then they came to the United States in, I think, 1950, 1951.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah, that's I had a similar upbringing. That's interesting. My dad converted when I was really young. You know, I'm Mexican, so you know, was born Catholic, but
right. Standard.
My father migrated in the 70s on a farmer's on a farmer's work visa, and then he ended up in Kansas. And as I had said before, you know, when we were referring to JD, and then he ended up getting his residence, and then eventually his citizenship. And you know, my story in America has been an easier one than a lot of my you know, that people that have come before me. So, and
we're all immigrants. Dang it.
Yeah. My family's from Chihuahua, which is a bordering state to New Mexico. It's why most of my family has been in New Mexico area and go back and forth, you know, for generations. You know, since before New Mexico was America. You know?
Well, at least you can handle the heat, whereas, you know, me and my Northern Germanic tribe, where we're used to freezing our butts off but can't handle heat, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I can handle Montana. That's you know, I'm still wrapping my mind around the fact that
that's why we, you know, well, God, look at the population of North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming. That's a low population for a reason, and we literally freeze our butts off every year. And after a few of those times, most people go, "I ain't doing this again. Bye," you know. And I mean, you know, it is the last best place, but unfortunately, most of the millionaires have moved in and made it very expensive to live here. So, and if you don't have a perfect job,
the millionaires tend to always ruin things. They're ruining Salt Lake as well.
Yeah, you know,
they're making things so expensive, and
they called it paradise.
Gentrifying every neighborhood available. So.
Yeah, and you know, and then Missoula is no longer what it used to be. Missoula used to be. It's still very liberal. It's the liberal side of the state compared to Bozeman and Billings on the other side in the northeastern part of Montana. Two different states, but we're one state. And Butte and Helena in the middle, etc., up in the mountains. we're the cool part of the state, but it's unfortunately the money side has stepped in, and the rich skiing and the tourist, and which is great in ways, but in other ways, it's changed somewhat, gotten a little dirtier and more trash, and
Salt Lake's crime.
Speaking of trash, the trash man was banned and their comments were removed. Okay, did you know about that, Rebecca?
Say that again.
The trash man was banned and their comments were removed.
Yes, it was, but I accidentally, in doing so, blocked Hopkinson. I'm working right now to undo that. Find out what.
Bummer. Sorry, Hopkinson. Sorry. I just noticed that. I just thought that was a little odd. It was like, wow, because we just got done saying trash, and I looked over and then it says the trash man. It was like, wow, that was interesting timing. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Left field. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going to be really amazed to see what this winter and the low water in Panama Canal, and that's slowing down shipping like so crazy. And I mean, it's not like we don't need that. Wow. We don't need that right now at all. Our economy is as bad as it is. And then the Amazon controls a huge portion of our atmospheric behavior around the planet. I mean, it is such a huge percentage of what and how our planet runs is off the Amazon. Absolutely. And wow, if that thing's running dry, we are, and no wonder we're really warm for November, and what's going on with the Antarctica and what's going on with the North Pole, and time to look into all of this weather, and wow, I'm in awe, and every day it gets cooler and cooler and scarier, and we resort to our good old Ryan Hall, y'all, and watch these people. And a lot of real true information is coming from the YouTube and the internet right now, whereas you're not getting it from any other media sources around the world, even CNN, and there's no connective information searching. I asked the guy across the street from me if he heard about the storm that hit France, and he has no idea.
There's a lot of, and we've discussed this before, how either people aren't paying attention, or the fact that CNN has become an entertainment channel, along with Fox, and I mean, Fox has always been crap, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't watch Fox at all. I don't frankly watch Air TV anymore. I mean, I don't have cable.
I don't even.
I run off the internet.
Only news that I get, honestly, the only news that I get from around the world is in the Sky groups. That's really. Occasionally, I'll see some stuff on YouTube, but for the most part, stuff you post, stuff on Montana Sky, which is some stuff that our members post.
I watch a lot of world news. I watch the India news. I watch BBC a lot. I watch. I'm trying to think of the one that I watch every day, and I can't even hand you the name of it. Of course, it's because it's so regular. Amy Goodman, and I can't even think of her the show she puts on, but I watch that every morning first thing, and I watch a lot of political stuff and a lot of weather, and Rebecca searches the weather as well as I do. I have not looked up the SOT report for last month. I come to think of it, SOT weather, SOTT. That's always a really good site, because they put out a monthly correlation or comparative group, and it's a really good video, and I watch that every month, and I haven't looked it up recently, come to think of it. And I used to pay a lot more attention to Suspicious Observer for good sources of information, but there's still credible sources of information out there, but you have to weigh credibility, and if you run into a news story that is uncomfortable, I suggest you still listen to it, but don't necessarily believe everything or turn it off automatically if you disagree with it, but do become aware of the facts rather than instead of the circus. And there's a lot of circus going on.
Oh God, absolutely, absolutely.
And it's like suddenly people are allowed to be rude, and I never knew that was allowed. So
yeah, but everything, all that's acceptable except our misinformation, quote unquote. But
I was just going to say on my end, I've been through all my settings.
Oh, Rebecca keeps freezing.
She might have to recirculate. With this close passing of a Saturn and a Saturn's yellow moon, I can't wait to see what it's about to do next, and knock on wood, 1, 2, 3, and wow, because just every day we see more new, really cool, amazing shit, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and it's bumping up in the cycle and where it is, proximity wise. And the other day, like just a week, 2 weeks ago, I saw the reddest sky and it directly above us, and I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. It was absolute candy apple fire cherry red, and it was directly above us, and it was massive, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And oh my God, I wish I had had a camera, but it would never have even captured the immensity of what was going on above me. So it's like,
it's a bummer, because I have a feeling you would take some really cool video.
And this of course boils back down to me not having the money to even dare to try and buy the equipment to do so.
Well, I mean, if it's going to break on you, I mean,
well,
why waste the money? So,
well, I had thought about something that I hadn't thought of before, and it's almost kind of silly that I hadn't thought of it. I thought, but what if I buy a pair of rubber gloves?
That's actually not a bad idea.
And what if I just go buy some Playtex living gloves and put the damn things on?
Maybe just kind of experiment on something cheap, maybe a throwaway camera, and see how that goes.
Yeah. And I've often thought about just trying to get an extra long UHF or whatever plug-in, whatever the damn thing that goes in the side of the computer here, and go buying a cord that'll hook up for a long camera, and go buy another high definition camera and point it out my north window. I mean, who knows, but that's the problem. I don't have a cell phone to walk around with and take shots with, and I don't have a lot. I've had tablets, and I have fried, I think, 5 of them now. And they don't last long for me, and then they just quit working. So, and are you back, Rebecca?
My whole internet shut down.
Yeah, you're still sort of stalling.
I'm surprised. I mean, that just tells me even if I'm not here, the show can keep going. So,
yay!
I didn't have internet for a minute.
Are you wearing tennis shoes?
Quality, very choppy, images from you, and you keep freezing up, and you're lagging, and
you jump.
That's crazy. I mean, because I only have two tabs open. I'm not playing music or anything, other than what's on this service. So it's not like I'm overworking it. And my son, I mean, he paid.
Well, had somebody downloading in the other end of the house? I think we lost her.
Yeah, I think she
should take her shoes off and ground to the front porch and the ground outside, so she has a better radio connection. She probably has somebody at the house that's also taking on the feed. That's what we run into. My daughters were complaining that when my dad's doing a podcast again, he's stalling out my feed, man. And I laughed, I chuckled and went, good,
well, if they're playing video games, that takes up a lot of bandwidth. So I can see how that would be a problem too. Yeah,
and then sometimes they run their tablets to talk to their friends through other, they're running 4 devices in there on me all the time, and it's like, okay. And then when that happens, I can't even post a picture, so I automatically know that that they're in there doing that, and I got to go in there and go, hey, you need to share your feed, turn off a couple of those things, please, if we take into account all the, the Wi-Fi we're walking around inside, oh, that scares the hell out of me, electrical field, thank you. Of course, everybody has that everywhere.
Yeah, no, every time there's that video that they posted recently about you could literally hear the electrical static from all the from the electric wires.
Oh yeah,
I can't.
When I drive underneath the Bonneville Montana power lines, where we feed power all the way to Washington State and beyond, and they go over past me here, and I drive under them every time I go to Montana or to Missoula, excuse me. And I feel those things, man. And it's just, you can feel it in your body when you drive underneath those things.
Absolutely.
This is why, a Tesla even warned about AC/DC power. That
I was just going to say that. If we had a Tesla, if we had gone with Tesla, we'd have a completely different world.
Yeah, because there is natural energy.
Unfortunately, money seemed to have won that battle. Like, it wins most battles, but
I even understand how it works. And
Really?
Not that I'm going to attempt to gather funding to build it, but and or study it, but I understand the premise behind it, because Earth has a natural bioelectricity, and it's 235 volts, and it comes out in hum cycles. And all you have to do, and it's broadcast power, all you have to do is tap into that, and it's there. It's real. Because we are an electrical planet.
Do you think that's what the pyramids of Egypt were doing, Sam?
Bingo! The man wins the cigar. Yep, I do.
Yeah.
Because the equation of the pyramid is phi and pi, and the stacked up amount of those rocks against each other puts off a connection equation of harmonic resonance. And that harmonic resonance makes that pyramid create way more power. And when it was encased and everything, and smooth surfaced and everything, and laid in with the cover stones and the metallic or whatever top that it had that was robbed over time, it was probably a broadcast power station.
Interesting. Yeah, the whole it was a tomb thing. It's ridiculous that anybody would actually believe that.
Well, there's even a hidden chamber yet.
The effort that it took to build this.
Yeah, it's if anybody's really into looking things up, look up phi, PHI, and pi, and match those equations against each other in a combination of weight, pressurization down to the central point, and you'll have an equation you wouldn't believe. Mm-hmm. And I think it's 6/5 pi. It's a harmonic wave. Anyway, I have it somewhere in a drawer, dusty old piece of paper. But there's a lot to that.
I'm starting to think we lost Rebecca for good. I wonder what's happening.
Well, we'll keep talking until she shows back up, or maybe her internet service regionally or locally is being affected by this, that, or the other thing. Sometimes they switch towers on people.
Yeah.
She did get new service, so perhaps she's finding out some of the negatives of this new service. I don't know. I don't know what she's using, but she got a new phone, so. And
maybe one of her sons is hogging all the bandwidth on.
Well, I noticed the music is still playing. So and that's from her. So that's one connective link I think she still has going. And maybe that's eating up a portion of her feed as well. Because music does take.
So going back to these electrical discharges, Sam. In the Thunderbolt Project video, they show on the 10 reasons. There's a playlist called 10 reasons why the universe is electric. They show a lot of in fact, if you even look at Mars's version of the Grand Canyon,
the scarring pattern,
that actually looks like an electrical discharge.
Electrical discharge pattern, yeah, correct, right.
on a
and
very large scale.
we also know that the upper half of Mars's atmosphere was burned away because there's a direct marking of a geological pattern. Oh, I just echoed.
That's scary. That's scary to think that something on that scale is actually possible. That's crazy.
Well, that also rolls into the Tiamat legend, where there's that theoretical, and I'm actually kind of echoing to myself. Did you just turn up your volume?
I tried, but it's
right. But I'm echoing now. Oh, I see Rebecca.
See okay, it's working. My son, he reset the router. He was asleep, so it wasn't him. And there's nobody else on here. Everybody's asleep.
It looks better. It looks
better.
Clear.
He reset it, and then I reset my computer.
Goodbye, gremlins. No,
I
gremlins.
know. This is weird. I mean, I'm not paranoid, but
normal.
I'm paranoid. Yeah. Every time something goes wrong, I'm like, I feel like they're out to get me every time something weird happens, which it happens often. So it does make you wonder what's going on. There's been many times.
The first show went down very smooth, remember? And then after that, it seems like we have some kind of glitch.
Technical.
Some kind of something going on every time we do the show. So, might be something we'll have to deal with.
I feel like there's some invisible forces out there. Something like a push and a pull. There's always an opposite happening. Mm-hmm. I feel like that.
Clark Kent, Katie Jo, Carol Ann, Bob. Hello, Carol Ann. She says loud and clear, Rebecca. Katie Jo says hi, Rebecca. Yeah. Well, a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, we were just talking about electrical discharges. Oh, there she froze again. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's electrical discharges, I tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Wow. Gonna have to give that little reset button a spin on it for her again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
so
froze
you can't
again.
Hear me. If you can't see me, you can't hear me.
Well, I can see you, so I can hear you.
But when the screen goes dark, can you hear me?
No. And no. You're locking up again, and your lips are not matching your voice.
All I did was I clicked on the Clark Kent comment.
Ah.
I clicked on that, and then it froze or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it did originally. The first couple of shows is when I clicked on anything in the private chat or the comments section, then it froze and kicked me out. And that did happen literally the first show, and then I've never really had any much trouble since. Well, because I learned not to be playing with stuff when
I'm not sure who this person is. It's a Facebook user, but they just had a real nice comment. They said, "I'm so thankful I found you guys. What I seen that day changed my life. I thought I was losing it." Smiley, happy face.
You're not.
Well, this is quite real. Carol Ann says, "Do I have to smudge?" Yes, Carol Ann, always smudge for the benefit of truth and wisdom, and the Montana Sky. Oh, excuse me, the Skywatcher way.
Right.
Sorry, old habit.
I get this comment, kind of this a lot. You know what I mean? I get that's what I was telling somebody on TikTok, because like I said, I went live, and my second live was 3 hours and 22 minutes. It was pretty long, but throughout that show, I got the nicest comments just over and over. People are very appreciative and thankful to hear this information, honestly.
Yeah,
you can't find it anywhere else. This is it.
Because people are sensing that something's wrong. And
right.
I think when they come across this information, it's like that missing piece of the puzzle. And then you get excited about it, and you get like, okay, oh wow, this really fits into what I'm seeing, and then everything becomes clear, and it's an exciting time. So yes, that's exactly the reaction that I'm hoping this all gets. The same reaction that we got when we found Sam. Like we were so confused. We knew something was wrong, and then we didn't understand what it was, and then all of a sudden we come across the right information, and it just everything fits so well together.
And which goes
I'm really
back
glad that that's happening with people, you know. Because
I also knew they were coming, so I saw them easier than people who do not expect them. And if you know, like you yourself said, I didn't expect planets. Well, I had expected, because back in the 70s, they told us that Planet X, quote unquote, and whatever else was coming. So there was a level of expectation, and here I'm an older adult now, and it was there it is. It's like, oh shit. So I jumped on the bandwagon far easier because I clearly was available to see this. And that's when we started documenting Montana Skywatcher 1. And then it grew and grew and grew. And then we were really privatized, and then we were open, and then we were private again. And then we went through a bunch of crazy stuff because of that. And we had a lot of trolling. And so that's when I opened Skywatcher 2 for more open people. And then we tightened the reins on that. And then about that time, Rebecca and you and everybody else started coming. And then we tried to keep the topic and have a strict set of rules, and a lot of people didn't like those rules when we first made them, and we want to do what we want to do. And then
a
we
lot
got
of people don't like rules in general,
right,
you know, they
but you have to have a level of rules to do good
Right.
science.
But here's what they want is they've spent a lot of time listening to these videos on YouTube, and they've got it all figured out, and they want to join your group and share all their information because they already know, and they're not going to budge, on anything else because they already know what it is because YouTube told them.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling somebody is like, you can't go onto a Facebook group that, I mean, that's the whole point of a Facebook group is that you have an idea already, and you join it because you have similar ideas,
right.
or to learn these ideas. You can't come on and try to argue with people like, no, I know better. No, that's the reason. You have to humble yourself. You're going to join a group. You have to kind of understand that there's a certain topic that's already discussed, and either you come on board or you don't, and I think some people kind of have a hard time with that, wanting to come
Yoda moment
and kind of change things, and it doesn't work that way. Like this has been going on. We've been doing this. Sam's been here well over 10 years. We've been doing it 6-7 years, but it's been the same thing, just added to it, and I get frustrated with people who just want to come on and try to change things, that we've been doing for so long.
You must unlearn.
Yeah.
I had a guy on, I believe it was on Nibiru Followers Anonymous today, where I read his comment. He wasn't directing it at me, but on the comment page, and he described the dark star was now visible, and it was like through a red infrared lens. I don't recommend it. It was interesting to see. There was a notable occurrence, but nothing we can really use. You have to remember that it's a usable science. It has to be the citizen science practices that we've worked at for over that decade to lay out how we do things. And we do this way for a reason, including topic sharing levels, or if it's really not topic, or if you're not following the rules, including for the longest time, we had a post your own videos in your own captures only. And a lot of those rules are currently being broken again because I don't really have the time to ride everybody as immensely as Lucinda did, and rest her soul. Anyway, so there is a level of citizen science behavior that is necessary and mandatory to keep the science pure, so we don't start creating or coming up with stuff that's not really occurring.
Yeah, and if you see other groups, it's you can see why it's important to follow and enforce these rules, because God, it is a circus out there. I'm a member of 30 groups, about 31. Every so often I get invited to another one, and I accept because I want to share my information, and hopefully maybe that could resonate with somebody. But a lot of the groups that I'm a member of, I've been invited to or added to over the years, and some of them are just absolutely a crap show. I mean, I don't want to
Well,
be rude
Jesus is coming back, you know?
or put anyone down, but it is it's just so random information that it's not really coherent or even on topic. You know, you have one person saying this, one person saying that. In fact, I started recently, a few months ago, I started what they call a group chat on one of these groups that somebody made me administrator of. I didn't even know I was administrator, but I started it just to see what would happen. And good God, that messenger group chat has completely bonkers. I don't even comment on it anymore. I started it, but it well within an hour, it got absolutely insane and just completely off topic and just the craziest shit that I just like. Okay, I'm not even gonna bother anymore commenting on that.
Which is a prime example why I've had to keep a very, very tight rein on our groups all of these years. And if you don't go through it every day, then you've got these guys that start running amok, and then before you know it, I mean, God, we battled the sun simulator, and we, the dew, and then how old Project Bluebeam was, and geoengineering, and how people bought into that because they thought, okay, that's what this is going on. And a lot of that had to do with the sea trails, and they were trying to, in the beginning, they were trying to hide a lot of this, which was the really cool, some of the best shots of it. But we saw behind it anyway, and we just got to some of them beforehand and after, and just avoided the middle stuff. And anytime anybody did post sea trails, I would remove them because it wasn't topic.
One of my first, when I came to Montana Skywatchers, one of the first things I posted was related to sea trails, and immediately somebody told me, if you want to be a part of this group and learn,
right,
you need
Sam's gonna slap you. He's gonna get mad at you. You better not post that. Yeah.
And you know what, Sam? I'm one of those people that I'm not. If I don't take it personally when I'm told I'm wrong or I'm told no. So I immediately deleted it and never went there again. Like you gotta tell me once and I'm fine with it.
We got in the early years of Montana Skywatcher 1 and 2, we got flagged and slapped in Facebook jail for dealing with that topic. And every time we started talking about it, I'd spend another month or 2 months or 3 months in Facebook jail, and then I had to vicariously have other people post for me. And that was still back in the James days, and there were good and bad moments along with James' cooperation, and I wonder to this day where he is, and I hope he's well. But yeah,
he popped up on my Snapchat. Friend suggestions recently that he was on there, so maybe he's still around. Because
or maybe his work just came around again on an algorithm. But yeah, I hope he's still around. I didn't think he was.
Because I have not seen anything from him, and he's still on my contacts list. He's still in my friends list. In fact, I still have his personal number. We used to talk, personally in video chat every so often as well. So
there's that storm onset of Uri. That is Planet Uri onset, and that is a storm of the 180 days. That's literally right there. That lightning strike is the Tan asteroid. And there's a whole
that's goes back to those discharges that you were talking about.
Right, and planetary. I mean, these things are massive, and I don't know how close they are to Earth, but we've seen the repeating patterns. And this is that thing I've been direly warning about. That here we go. We're at the end of the 180-day cycle, and this is going to come. And this video is like a week, 2 weeks old, and this is part of the now that I'm expecting a drastic. drastic set of storms and circumstances. And there's, of course, a new one coming to Europe, and there's one coming here too, to the West Coast in a couple of days. I don't know what it is, but they're already warning us, and I need to look into it. I haven't had a chance because it just happened this morning, and I was kind of caught up in mail and doing errands and then getting ready for the show tonight. So I haven't done any real lookup homework for current weather, but yeah, that's the bottom of planet Uri, a big gas giant and all her little stuff underneath that electrically discharges between us and Uri. And, you know,
I cannot figure out.
It was like, Sam, just as you said that, it happened.
What color is Uri? You know, technically, what
Uri
color
is a grayish white striped. It's a gas giant. It's got many rings. It's very much like Saturn, but it's white.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's white with gray, and there's some areas. There's a couple of the rings in the upper, the middle hemisphere that are semi-translucent or suppressed lower than the other outer rings. And we've got that 2013 perfect side view of it, which is matched, you know, God, for, you know, 8-10 years. And time after time after time, it's the same thing, except we haven't seen the bottom. Excuse me, we haven't seen the top of Uri in quite a while because she's so big now that we see more of her bottom than anything else. And now you're looking directly at the base cloud of Uri and the onset of the Salamander asteroid group and Tan asteroid, et cetera, et cetera. And in that mix up in the darkness there, to probably somewhat a little bit to the right would be the Skull asteroid. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff directly over the top of us that it's not even registering on the viewer or the filmer, because we're in the middle of the mix. And if you look at my older full complete solar system drawings, then it's more understandable if you see the orbitation model.
Right.
That we've taken time to prove.
Right. Mm-hmm. Trying to get a certain clip.
Well, at least we're still coasting downhill.
At least you can see and hear me.
yeah. We're going okay.
Oh boy.
And we got a nice video to talk about, and that's that. I expect some seriously nasty effects from whatever we're about to go through this winter. Should be very interesting, and we've had comments couple of weeks in a row where people it's talking about the stars aren't aligning up right and everything's weird and the moon isn't right and the sun isn't right, and so there's all kinds of new effects that we're going to have to go through that we haven't quite suffered through before. So
I'm very curious to see what's going to happen now that they're moving up over us. That's going to be. I keep telling people now's a good time to be paying attention because things are going to get interesting, and we might see more dramatic weather events.
And have that stored water, that little bit of extra rice and extra peanut butter, spaghetti noodles, whatever. Keep a little extra on the shelf, and yeast packets and flour and whatever else you might be able to cook with. And think about what you cook with if you have no electricity or if you have no, standard power or anything breaks down, and think about that. And we talked about bug out bags. I don't promote packing food ahead of time, but just think about it, and water especially. And then we've talked about what happens if you don't have any running water in your house, and it can take 2 gallons to flush your toilet. A gallon if you pour it in the front. If you pour it in the back tank, it takes 2 gallons. So remember that also. It's easier to flush if you pour a gallon of water in the front of the tank after use, if you do not have any water pressure, than it does with the back of the tank. But anyway, there's all kinds of stuff you can think about.
Right. I mean, most people, like, I'm just thinking about where I live, the street I live on, there's nobody, around that is set up, they're not storing that much water. I just think it'd be chaotic at that point.
Water stores really well, and I've got probably 20 gallons sitting here in the room with me right now that I've had for quite a while in those big 5-gallon jugs, and they're from Culligan. And then I have the regular ones I use, but these are ones I just extra pushed in the back, And old water works pretty darn well when you don't have any and you're thirsty. And you got to cook, and you have to cook with something sometimes. You need water for this or water for that, noodles or whatever. And I try to have a little of this and a little canned extra of that on hand, and just in case something crazy happens. But we don't know what's coming, and weather is really, Christ, half of these people in France are now swimming, and it's what's next week and the week after, and then the week after is going to be someplace else.
I'm just thinking like 20 gallons of water would last us like 3 days, maybe, and then what?
If you were wasting it while flushing, yeah.
Right, and then what? And it's like that's not going to last. It's not going to work.
Well, they always say fill up your bathtub, prior to major storms and emergencies. If
right. I'm just thinking, whatever it is, it might be long term.
That's
I don't know.
30, 40 gallons, depending on the size of your tub that you could have used for flushing if necessary, and drink the rest of your saved water. But there's a lot to think about, and we've talked about it in the past, where you just have your family try a dry run day where you turn off the power in your house and then just try to exist in it. And boy, talk about wake you up, because your entire day has changed. You don't have power to do.
Well,
anything.
I did that not too long ago. I don't know, a couple of months ago, we lost power for 4 days. So I got a good taste of it then.
Right. It's a big.
We were sleeping out on the front porch, and
4 days.
It was a memory. Mm-hmm.
No, thank you. I'm awful spoiled. I can tell you that, and I can't even imagine 4 days without power.
Yeah,
my daughters would go ape.
Well, you know what? The second or third day, we got out and drove around, and as far as we could drive across town, nothing was open but 2 Quick Trip convenience stores, and that was all of Tulsa. It was just the whole. And Tulsa's a good size, second largest city in Oklahoma, so it's a good size. And we were shut down for several days,
playing Monopoly by candlelight.
Right.
Why was that? What was the reason for that? Was it weather related?
Well, yeah, big storm come through. Over 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Was it the entire city?
What's that?
Was it the entire?
Say it again.
Was that like a necessity pass, or was it an asteroid pass?
Well, I need to share my video. See, I got out. I was afraid of big hail. Okay, so I got out. It was about midnight, and the sky was flashing like that right there. It was just flickering and flashing just like that. I got out and took our car up the street to an underpass, okay, because I didn't want it hail damage. Okay, so here I am, midnight, the sky's crazy, and I'm driving up the street, and the wind's blowing, and anyway, I get to the underpass, and I'm sitting there, and I'm filming from what I could see, which you could see the sky flashing, and then kind of out of nowhere, this man starts walking across the street. And at this point, the wind was just really picking up, and, the rain, and it was getting kind of crazy. And anyway, he approached my car and asked if he could get in, because it was getting pretty stormy. And I said, fine, hop in. And we rode out the storm, the worst of it, there under the underpass. And if it was not a tornado nearby, I don't know, it was pretty heavy duty. And so he asked me if I could take him to a Quick Trip, which was about 1.5 miles away. So we waited till the rain died down, and I headed that direction, and it was really bad. You could tell right away how bad the storm was, because there were no lights anywhere. It was completely dark everywhere. And, no stoplights, nothing, and so I made my way to where Quick Trip was. And it was just, there's a big grocery store, shopping center here, and a Quick Trip there, and a Walgreens. It was just completely black. That's when we knew, how bad the storm was. I couldn't leave him there. And I started driving around town, You know what I'm saying? I mean, we were looking for a place for him to go where he could go inside, and
I'm not sure I would have done that.
He was soaking wet, you know. So I ended up driving around downtown, and there was trees down everywhere. It was crazy night, you know. Anyway, I have most of this, I think, on video. I'll have to share it with you guys. But I ended up taking him to a hospital downtown. I left him there, and then I came home. But it was, you know, and then we didn't have power for 4 days. But I was kind of out in the middle of it after the storm actually hit, right when it hit and afterwards. So.
Facebook user here is just saying next week all rain, stormy Seattle area. Yeah, there's a really big, huge dual rotational storm coming in off the west coast, and I haven't investigated it well yet, but they say it's pretty bad, or gonna be bad.
Let's see. Let's look at these a minute while I find something else. I always like looking at these just over and over again. I don't know. I admire them.
Well, the close past necessity era, which has now changed, was really visually cool, and we could see the definite cutoffs and you know, direct green change, and I'm still loving that Jeff Goldblum picture that I think JD made, and I still pop that up every once in a while still, and that was a very really cool period of time. It's changed. Necessity is smaller now and higher up.
I found that one.
Yeah, that's a picture that came from James, believe it or not.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like something he had.
To about 2015.
It's awesome. I mean, his videos are very revealing. You know, the videos he has on YouTube, they really show a lot. He's heard a lot of, you know, great things that I've been able to go in.
I love his time-lapse videos.
Yes.
I learned a lot, and that's kind of where my time-lapse thing. Yeah, when he stopped doing his, I was like, well, I mean, I'm not gonna sit around and wait for somebody else to do it. So I just kind of started making my own, and
right.
Yeah, plus some of our links changed too at that time, where we weren't getting accessibility to a lot of the sky cams changed.
Yeah,
and that's when we also lost a lot of satellite feed that you used to be able to type in direct satellite links, and that all got taken away. And they renamed.
Third Eye Cam with us. He says, "Greetings, beautiful people. Hi, Third Eye."
Hi, hello, nice to see you here. Glad to have you here.
Patrick is with us. Patrick, hi, Patrick. And now I see Katie Joe. I heard your name earlier. I just want to acknowledge everybody. Facebook user, Carolyn. And I have tried everything to unblock what happened earlier with that Hopkinson, right? Yeah, Hopkinson. Anyway, I've messaged her on YouTube because I'm trying to connect with her. Yeah, because when I go to my settings under guest, it says no banned guest. Like there's nobody banned, even though there is. So, but I'm working on fixing it. And I messaged her on YouTube. I found her channel, so we're going to figure it out.
Yes.
Sorry that happened.
Well,
yeah, I was blocking. I was trying to get the other guy who was saying all these vulgarities, you know, and my finger hit the wrong person. And it's like, can't you just go and unblock, you know? But it's not
as easy. I have not.
Well, I know it's not.
I rarely block people. One of my trolls was saying that I'm I'm at fault for blocking them. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
right, it's my fault. Okay, yeah.
Well,
Like, and I block so many people that it's my fault.
you don't.
No,
That's
I
just
don't
it.
block. Oh, you know, and I'm reading the stuff
Personally,
that they're saying to me, and I just, you know, half of them aren't even worth a comment back to.
but
Yeah.
personally, I think, Sam, you don't block enough people. There's sometimes I'm like, I would have blocked.
I was gonna say that. He's so
Yeah, well,
mean.
you know, maybe
I
I'll
don't.
start
Okay,
considering
I
it.
was telling somebody, I don't mind if you have a difference of opinion. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. I'm not gonna make you an enemy just because you have a difference of opinion. Whatever. It's just how you talk. You know, if you're gonna come
Right.
with with insults and throwing all this, then I'm gonna shut down and I'm not gonna listen to you and I'm gonna block you. I cannot put up with it anymore. Like over the years, it's gotten where, like, yes, I do have thicker skin, but at the same time, it's like I'm not trying to force my beliefs on you. What I'm seeing. If you want, if my information resonates with you, I'm glad. You know, I'm glad that you know resonates with me. But if it doesn't, all right, moving on. That's
I just have to chuckle over the group that continues. I shouldn't say continuously because that's not correct. It's continually persist in trying to mock me, and it's sort of like they get new members and then they come from the next nearby village to come poke the old man in the cave, as a rite of passage or something, and I chuckle at that.
And I don't care. People will literally go out of their way just to throw dirt on somebody that they disagree with. And I'm like, you know what? If you don't like it, just change the channel. It's simple as that. There's a lot of crazy shit out there that I don't agree with. I don't go on their channel or on their group and start running my mouth and no, I just get out of the group and I go and play elsewhere.
Sorry.
Woo! I'm awake.
That was right.
I am awake now. Yeah,
it should give you the option right before you start playing it to mute it, but it doesn't.
Oh boy.
But this was something cool.
All the videos that I sent you, I muted them before I sent them. I figured this time I would mute them before I send them to you. That way,
that's helpful.
You wouldn't have that waker upper.
You're right, and I've been trying to do that as I save videos. Go in and turn the volume down at least.
Yeah, because a lot of the reels that I make, I always add music to them, and it's been because they're easier to download than going through my my pictures and videos. I just kind of go to my reels and just kind of download them there, and then I've been sending them to you that way. But this last time I thought I'm gonna go on there and mute it that way.
I'm switching videos.
A rude awakening in the middle of a conversation. So.
Yeah, I always try to post
San Diego last night.
My stuff. Okay, hi, Mr. Whatever.
I'm gonna find something I know is muted. Sorry, that's alarming.
Christina, trying to read who's posted, but the cheesehead guy, we were talking about him earlier. Like, okay, I don't know of him.
He follows my channel. And so I started following his channel.
Oh, that's this video. Oh, yeah, I remember this.
I'm looking for something that's, I don't know what this is, but it's probably good.
Halloween night.
I put the music on.
It was a long, cold Halloween night.
Yeah, I think the music actually goes well with it.
looks like it's in Europe.
What's this here?
I said it looks like it's in Europe.
Oh, it is Spain.
Okay.
Yeah, this webcam has the pretty cool videos.
That's of course rotating Atu's moon. Stuff even at night, directly over the top of us. Rounded bottom, slightly illuminated.
Yeah, cool.
Then the moon comes up. Yep.
Let's see that.
And there's those moments that you absolutely can't deny what you're seeing as you watch. You know, at the side angle, like that one picture of early 2015 of Atu, when you see a side angle illumination, and you see this huge, massive planet on one side or the other side of the sun, you'll never forget it as long as you live. And there's that brief moment that it's there. And you can watch it for hours sometimes, and you still don't get the best view until that last side illumination. And it's amazing. And then they come and they go. And I mean, I sat and watched the Texas cube go from one side of the sun to the other in my out view because I was underneath it. And I sat there and watched it for 45 minutes, and it was just awesome. And, you know, I'm sure my neighbors think I'm out of my mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine. I know does. There's a new lady that lives next door, and she gets out and walks her little doggy, and I kind of like just unloaded it on her the other day, a week ago. But ever since then, you know, she's been different. You know, like she just doesn't even want to hardly get into a conversation.
Yeah, you know, we're the strange people out on the street now, you know, who have this neck. What's wrong with their heads? They keep looking up. Oh my God. Call someone. Please.
You know, I think you're pretty brave for that, Rebecca, because there's I think Rebecca froze again.
Uh-oh.
Rebecca? No. Well, well, anyways, what I was saying is while Rebecca comes back, you know, as far as my immediate surroundings, it's not something that I'm too open about because I gotta live here. Okay, there you're back. You froze.
I'm back. I'm back. No, what I was saying though is I tell everybody. I mean, I tell people at the checkout stand.
There you go.
All over the place. Food pantries.
I'm not that comfortable with it. You know, I wish I could, but
I start talking about it.
Personally, I'm, you know, on here, whatever, but personally, I'm still a little squeamish about being open about it. And sometimes I feel like some people, occasionally I'll get somebody that I pick up, you know, as again, I drive for a living. But sometimes I'll pick up some people who are open to the topic, but I'm a little cautious of should I talk about it? Should I not?
Yeah, wait till you hand out your YouTube Jesus Marquez business card.
Yeah.
I probably should, at least to some of the people that
that's on my list of things.
You know how many of those I've handed out?
Yeah.
I'm upward of a couple of thousand of them, you know.
They're easy to get.
I'm on my fourth run, and that's why
we need
got
to
the
do
gold
that
cards now. I'm on my second batch of gold cards. Yeah,
those gold cards. I love those gold cards.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I wonder what people thought of them, but they're.
I have mine hanging up.
A short, brief business card, and it says Montana Skywatcher, Sam Hofman, Facebook, YouTube. You know, Nibiru is here. It's very short and sweet, and just a starter card, and underline Nibiru. And because you ask people, have you heard about Nibiru? Why, no, and then off you go.
Yeah.
And then, and then you got to reach all the way for the second star and all of that story. And before you know it, you've been standing at the convenience store for 45 minutes and they're thinking you're out of your mind. So, there's a long way between that conversation and handing them a business card. And I'm almost out of the gold cards, and I don't know what I'm going to have printed up next. But
yeah, that's what I'm going to do, is get some cards. Because I went back to a place the other day where I talked about this podcast. And anyway, she remembered me, and she was like, tell me the name of your podcast again.
Right. And you got to write it down.
Right. So she wrote down Nibiru Followers Anonymous.
Right.
I told her it'd be here.
And I thought, had my finances allowed, I'd actually thought about mailing both of you guys some cards just to be cool about it. But I never got any money. So,
right.
Donations have dropped way off, sadly, folks. And we need them to operate off of. And so,
I was going to mention that as well. Now that we have added the podcast, it's getting up to about at least $150 that I spend every month.
Right. Oh yeah.
At least, probably a little more though. But I have a lot going on, with all the different apps for videos and photos.
That's what it cost me too. And and then not including replacement equipment. And if you divided that monthly, it would be expensive. But yeah. Because I've been 15 computers. So
if we could get to a point to where we just had help, with our monthly expenses to make all of this happen. I'm not. I'm not asking for loads.
We'll become addicted
a little bit
to our
would be
podcast.
Nice, huh?
Hopefully people will become addicted to our podcast. I'm joking.
Right. But
it is an addiction. So, hey, it's an obsession.
I feel like
have you now.
Yeah. I just feel like, a lot of people are like, feel like they can't afford it. And I'm like that too. But I also see over on TikTok, people are really giving over there. They're always buying gifts, these virtual gifts, and so they send, $1 or $3. I don't know, but they send things to people that equate to money, or they just cash app them directly. But I'm just saying, we have over 100,000 people, and if each did just a little bit, it would be so helpful for all of us to. Jesus could get a laptop.
Yeah, and it's been a
Sam could pay his internet with comfort. Yeah. I'm talking about maintaining what we're doing and making it possible to grow. Because right now we're just getting by and doing this, but it could be so much more. Merchandise. I'm talking more.
Well,
more
yeah, and we can, we can continue to talk about what's currently going on overhead and what we're seeing, and expressing the sentiments of what we get in weekly and daily from our regular members, who over time we can also add on to these shows and get their points of view and share with everybody. And if you're new to the thing and you have a person that's on the fence and you can actually get them to sit down and watch one of our sometimes very lengthy podcasts, I'm joking, and we have a tendency to talk, and
time flies by.
Through it,
it always flies by.
Well, the guy out here that works at one of the corner convenience stores. He said he liked the shows and he watches all of them and they're very informative, and I just passed him as I went into the store the other day.
Nice.
And so so I'm hoping everybody likes these, and I hope they want to listen. And we've been awful busy, and this actually takes a great deal of our time as well to do. And I have noticed that I've been more busy doing this than other things that I normally, it's kind of jogged into my normal routine a little bit with, like studying the weather and every day.
As Dave's Waffle House says, for a cup of coffee, buy me a cup of coffee.
Right. Right.
It doesn't have to be, if more people did that, it would just add up, and it's really not something that would make or break anybody.
And if we took all the sister site members alone off of Facebook alone, if everybody out there that actually heard us, it would mail us a $5 bill or mail Rebecca a $5 bill, she would be able to set up better stuff for herself, or like right now we're currently in a fundraiser for the Hofman children, and I don't know where that fund is, nor do I want to know. Excuse me, cough, sneeze coming.
I was gonna say, I feel like Sam and I need to go. Now that I can. You okay, Sam?
Yeah, it was just cat hair thing.
The
heater was on and it blew the cat hair around.
I got a big old cat in my lap right now.
Yeah, but, the heater was on, so the cat hair is flying around a little more than normal. I think she locked up again.
Mm-hmm.
There was a move.
Is it better?
Now,
but now that I'm able to live stream on TikTok, I thought we should give it a go. I'll get you on here on StreamYard, and they will be able to see everything that I'm doing, like I'm doing right now. They'll see that. So it shows whatever my computer screen shows, basically. But you could be on here, and I feel like they would love to have you, and we could do a fundraising event.
Yeah, I feel good and bad about that. I don't like asking for stuff, but that's the only way we can keep going. And
I don't know if there's,
but I think TikTok is a little bit more open when it comes to that, because people are more giving, and
they really are. It's normal
because TikTok is a platform where it is it is based very much so on donations and advertisements and that kind of stuff. So I think that platform is a little bit more successful and more open to that kind of talk and that kind of stuff. So I think that's a good idea to do on TikTok.
Over the years, people, kind of talked me into it and pushed me more and said, you should have fundraisers. You need to do this. You need to ask for more. You need, and then I tried to sell the hats and I couldn't sell them to people. I just wanted to give them to my friends, because we didn't have that many of them. And of course, I'm running on a shoestring budget. And then anything that anybody can further, if we did get a regular income, we could move to merch, and we could move to, thinking caps, and we could move to Citizen Science, Montana Skywatchers, Nibiru follower, and there's anonymous. Nibiru is here, or Nibiru system is already here, etc. T-shirts, and people could help, and then we add a little bit of that extra couple of dollars on there to add for these sales of these T-shirts to further them, because it takes a considerable amount of money to even do the shipping and handling, and that too has its nightmare.
Well, you got to factor that into the cost of the product.
Right. And you have to tell people that, because shipping and handling, unfortunately. And the funny thing is we saw Andy Pohl here this week. I mailed Andy Pohl a $25 hat, and it cost me a little over $38 to mail it to him in the UK. And I had to chuckle over that. And then I had to fill out a customs information sheet and all of that. And it was like I was smiling through the whole process, going, "Oh my God, you got to be kidding me!" So and you think it's a $25 hat, and it ended up costing you, you were paying upward of $60, including the gas to drive it to the post office and everything. Well,
it's valuable information that you're not gonna find anywhere else, that we've taken such a long time to not just learn, but to create. I myself, I work 50 hours a week. I'm doing this on my day off. it does take some time. It does take every time that I shoot a video, and I have to edit it. I have to go back. It
Right.
takes time. It's not just something that
Right.
just
Yeah.
Well,
And we do spend most of our day doing it. We
I was getting
takes
ready to
time.
say,
It takes time, and it takes time out of your day. It takes time out of your day off. Like I was telling you, Rebecca, I literally just woke up before I started doing the show because I had a long week. It's
right.
It's not a whole lot to ask,
No, I was.
cup of coffee
I
here.
take 12 months to do what I have to
It
do
just
every month for the drawing.
Yeah, I think we're all in that same boat. I really do, because I start working on this by 9 in the morning, and then I'm up till 3 in the morning, and it starts all over again. But I work on it every night from 10 to 3 because it's all by by
I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to post ahead of everybody to try and be really on top of the news and check all the earthquake reports. And then after not getting enough sleep and running into a real serious sleep issue, I changed how I did things and I started reporting later because I was doing it way too long and way too early.
Yeah, well, running the Facebook groups takes time. It's why I haven't I've never even considered starting my own Facebook page because I just would not have the time to even begin. So
Yeah, you have to go in every day and you have to go scroll through everything.
I don't know if I'd have the time or the patience, honestly, to do so. So I just kind of bounce back and forth, posting my stuff on different. No, we lost Rebecca again. I just post my stuff back and forth, but running a page is not something that I have the time to do because I work. I have a day job as well, graveyard job as well. So
I have 300 levels of patience,
and it would be great. My dream job would be to do this, full time. And be able to support myself doing it. But
I would
for
hope
now, I think the goal is to just put out more quality, be able to put out more quality stuff out there, so we get more engagement and we get.
Well, if you have 1 million followers or something, then you off.
Yeah. So we can, right now we're just basically asking just for maintenance,
right,
support,
right, right. See, well, yeah, and we are collectively invested in this in well over a decade. And God, if I had a nickel for every hour of study that would involved in putting all of this together, I'd be pretty wealthy, and I wouldn't need to have funds. But that's not how it panned out. And of course, I'm working off a retired budget shoestring thing. So and then So this is what we're doing and why we're as often talking as we are, because the podcast hopefully will reach people at a different level than it has in the recent past.
And also, I mean, it's a hell of a show. I mean, where else are you going to get this kind of entertainment? Because this is right from being informative and being...
are we entertaining?
And I mean, the videos that come into Montana Skywatchers are absolutely fascinating entertainment.
Okay.
Seeing planets, seeing people recording planets in motion. God, that's personally to me that's more interesting than anything Hollywood has to offer.
I kind of see it from I like to see it when what I see and draw comes to happen within sometimes an hour to 2 weeks, and lo and behold, there it is.
I see that there's value here beyond information. There's entertainment value here, because if you enjoy this kind of stuff, you're not going to find it anywhere else. This is the only place where you're gonna find time lapses of planets and moons and asteroids in motion. I mean,
this is some of the Star Wars saga
stuff that people post sometimes is absolutely just mind-boggling.
And I was looking at again the guy up in Sweden stuff that came in today, and I'm just going, look at that, And then I watched your stuff that you posted today, and I was going, look at that, oh my God, drool.
It kind of takes you back, and it's entertaining, at very least it's entertaining.
I can't wait to get Planet X Hunt. I mean, Dave's Waffle House.
He'll always be Planet X Hunter to me.
Yeah. And well, maybe he changed because there were some other people that were probably
I'm sure
close to his lookup.
He changed it for a reason.
Well, we got to remember there was also Planet X News, which we can down till sundown and
oh God, one of the worst.
One of the worst. One of the worst.
Yeah.
We can give him the Nerds Award for that.
He's cancer to this
absolutely
community.
To this day. Yeah, he was nothing but a huge issue, and it's something I scraped off the bottom of my shoe long ago. So and then I then you and I brought it up, and then all of a sudden, pop out of the woodwork, they show up still, and I went, whoa, it's like, oh, speak of the devil.
I went down that rabbit hole, and I gotta say you end up with more questions than you do answers.
I love the part where they were actually publicly downing me before anyone else on live feed. Before it was just somebody poking at me from a dark corner, and then then the Steve and the Jeff and the Chris, and they were all got together and did this multi-group show, and we're all like publicly downing me because they couldn't fathom it, and I'm just laughing my ass off as I go outside and look at Nibiru and concentric moons.
I think a lot of the people that down you are just washed out, and couldn't really make heads or tails of this information, and didn't actually take the time to.
I think that's it.
Because if you notice, Sam, most of these people aren't posting anything that they personally took or filmed or photographed. They're only posting crap that they find, on the internet. None of them are actually posting anything that they took the time to film. And I gotta now that we're talking about that, anything that you see me post has been filmed by me, personally me. No, I do not post anybody else's work. And nothing against it. I think it's great, but everything that I post has been recorded, edited, and done by me, by my cameras, my phone, my work.
Hi, Rebecca.
And anything that you see out there from these guys, none of it has come from them. So they're not really sky watchers, because they're not really watching the skies themselves. They're just posting crap that they find that other people post.
And they're harassing me for every time we have a fundraiser.
I just want to tell Patrick, thank you. I just want Patrick to know I appreciate that. He sent us $1.99 and a sticker.
I'm going to go get a Coke. I'll be right back.
Okay, do it. But yeah, that's pretty cool that people can.
Very nice.
There's something through YouTube where you can send stickers and monetary gifts, and so it's similar. They're trying to do a little bit of what TikTok does, but yeah, I think Sam would be a hit because he already has a built-in audience. Just from all the times I've been on talking about him. So to have him on would be, I think I would, hype it up a few days before and see how it goes. And it would help him be able to get his daughters, what they want for Christmas, which, is what every parent wants, of course. But if we could make that happen, that'd be really special. Because I know it'd mean everything to those girls, to get something like that they would deemed otherwise impossible, So it'd be really nice to be able to get it for them.
Absolutely not within our budget.
I mean, I want to see it happen for them, and I feel like it'd be so easy. We got so many people, following this information. So I'm just asking people to
Yeah, and we have to bring it up now because
out.
there's a time factor involved as well to get it before Christmas and all that.
Right. Right.
A lot of the times these special items are instantly gone, so we have to get them as early as possible. And I've run through that where I once with another child, my oldest son, I went to another state looking for that one specific toy, and of course did not come up with it. And you all remember the Cabbage Patch Kids and all of those other crazies and the My Little Ponies and the Pony Castle.
I was out with my mom day after Thanksgiving one year, and we got a hold of a Tickle Me Elmo.
Oh boy,
and you couldn't find him anywhere. And I
remember that one.
Yeah, we got one. So
right, so yeah, top toy of the year for a teenager, and you don't want to disappoint.
My little boy,
oh my God,
I forget. I don't know how old he was, like 3 maybe. He was little, but
there's nothing in the world like a child that's overwhelmed with happiness when they get what they want for Christmas. And so
absolutely
right. So
and not the wrong model, Dad. I wanted the blue one.
I know. I had 3 boys. I raised 3 boys, and so I know how important game systems are to teenagers. I really do. I mean, I know it's a big deal, and it would just, mean everything to them to get a nice one each.
Oh, so no, what happens to my feed? I'm joking, of course.
Yeah.
There goes my internet feed, man. Yeah. Hey, let's ask Santa for, a good Montana internet upload speed, please. All I want for Christmas is, wow. I would love to do things differently too, and so would Jesus, and he went black. And
we've never had this trouble before, of course. It's like
my phone isn't gonna last much longer, guys. Just
okay
out there, and it's not holding a charge. I just connected it.
Gremlins.
5 minutes along. 5 minutes. 5 minutes ago.
Well, it's done well. We've been on here 3 hours.
Yeah, no. So it was fully charged when I started, and then I kept connected for a while, but now it's just not holding.
It's to be expected.
It's just what happens when it overheats. It stops it from charging, so it doesn't overheat it even more. So what it does, it just cuts off the charge. And
prime example, we need better equipment.
yeah.
He does.
We're on a shoestring budget here, guys.
Yes.
No, I was gonna say, Jesus, with all the work that he does, I mean, a laptop for him, just would make all the difference. You could do a whole lot more. I see it now after I got over the intimidation factor of not knowing what to do on it. I've been YouTubing and learning as I go.
You really put that laptop to good use.
I have. Yes, doing some it's finally happening.
I just realized what we're doing wrong.
What?
We are not, that one Montana Skywatcher 2 picture that I use of the cat or the kitten that says, "I'm going to use the force on you."
Yes.
We have not put up any cat pictures. If we put up cat pictures, the donations will skyrocket. I promise you.
Okay, I can do that.
People love them cats, and that is a pretty cute cat picture, I gotta say.
Okay, we can just.
I would definitely donate to that picture.
Yeah, well,
that's right up my alley.
I'm going to use the force on you. You must donate to Montana Skywatchers and Nibiru Followers Anonymous. And,
okay,
Nibiru
I got it.
Already here. You must. It is the force. Is my will. Meow.
I mean, who can say no to that? I mean,
that's good.
I did kind of rob the picture. I admit it's it's an internet picture of a kitten and wearing that little suit, and it looks almost like what were the guys on Endor? What was the name of those little creatures on Endor? The furry little bear guys. Star Wars, come on, early Star Wars.
I don't know.
The Battle for Endor, Ewoks. Was
I hate to admit this, Sam, but I have not seen all the Star Wars.
Oh, dude!
I think I've seen the
Holy
last.
shit, dude! You have your homework assignment for
I
the
didn't
week.
want to say that out loud.
Yeah.
Because I know I was going to disappoint a lot of people, but I have not seen it. I have not seen it.
I'm the same way.
Do you know how many times I have seen the entire Star Wars series?
I can only
back
imagine.
to 1980.
I can only imagine.
My count is 116 times.
Ones, but from what I hear, it was disappointing to a lot of the diehard fans. So
I regularly watch every Star Wars thing I can ever get my hand. I still play. I have a PlayStation 2, which is decades old, and I'm amazed it still works.
Yeah.
And I vacuum it out regularly to keep the dust out. Anyway, I have a game called it's Star Wars Battle Zone or Battleground or Battleground, and whatever. But it's a Star Wars game, and it's still the best damn game to this day. And I play it regularly, a couple of times a week. And I've talked about this before in other podcasts and shows. And I get to this one section, and I'm playing the game, and there's Rebecca in my brain, and you're in my brain, and I'm throwing grenades over the edge at robots and shit like this, and battling stormtroopers. And for some reason, I play that game right before I do the monthly drawing and all of that. And you guys are all rolling through my head while I'm playing it, only on that level. And it's weird.
That's funny.
And I don't know how it's brain linked, but over time it has become that place I go. So I calm down before I sit down to do the drawing. It's, it's like a cheap place where
that's your happy place before you
I disconnect, and it's only on that level. And I'll sit down and I'll have to play like 4 or 5 other previous screen scenarios to get to that level. And then I get to that level and I'm running out, dun, 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 dun. I got my my gun and my grenades, and I'm battling robots, depending on which if it's there. They give you 2 opportunities, 2 different galactic periods. One where you're battling with the Clone Wars, one where you're battling with the other forces, the Separatist forces, robots. Anyway, so, and I play that level, and I get to that, and it just, everything in my brain works out, and I go out and I do my drawing. And I don't know why, but I've somehow attached that process together, and it's odd, but I still chuckle over it.
But it works.
And of course, that's the monthly drawings, and then the side monthly drawings that I do occasionally. And I have one on deck I've laid, but it wasn't that complicated to draw. But this new onset of a Saturn's yellow moon and the close pass it's doing, like we were talking about earlier, that we're just all drooling over to see what happens next. And wow. And I can't underpin the aurora factor. I mean, you guys, there's a lot more, and I'm not going to give away the answer to it, but there's a lot more to these auroras and the colors and what's going on one side and what's going on the other side. And if you look over there and you see this and that and the colors, there's a lot more going on that I can't fully prove, but I'm pretty darn sure of. So, I'm hinting because I like everybody to sort of find some of this information for themselves, because if you do, you're more likely to allow the science to flow in your mind, so it will stick better, so you'll understand it more if you get a hint and a nudge in the correct direction.
Well, see, now that you say that, Sam, I think I'm a firm believer in what you said once about how it's better for to just point people in the right direction to find that information for themselves, because when you just kind of hand it over to somebody, it doesn't really, first of all, it doesn't really resonate, and people doesn't really, if you don't really learn it yourself, it doesn't really, there's
like
a deeper
learning cold
meaning,
facts and not understanding the cold facts.
You always did this thing on Montana Skywatchers where you don't, and people always complain about this, how you don't answer my questions and this and that. And I always found, since early on when I joined Montana Skywatchers, it was something that you were expected to do your own work, and that made people very uncomfortable, and people hate that. I see the value in that,
Well, I expect people to do a level of actual science. We're not talking about hypothetical. We're not talking about assumption. We're talking about provided relentless pattern repetitive facts that we document, discuss, and then prove, and then through multiple examples, which is why we collect all these photographs and reuse them out of all these immense piles and piles of files, and we have thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures.
Because okay, so this is what I think of Montana Sky Watchers. It has every tool for you to learn on your own, you know, because this is one of those topics that you're not just going to learn off reading and watching.
That's nice to hear. Thank you.
That's a very good tool, you know, but learning the way we learn by going out there and watching the skies and photographing and filming, there is no replacement for that. There's no substitute for that, you know, and that's not something that you can skip. If you want to learn this stuff, it's you can't skip that and just go for just the quick learning. It's not going to resonate that way, and you're not going to see it because. And I don't want to point fingers here. I don't want to mention names, but I see a lot of people in Nibiru Followers Anonymous, as well as Montana Skywatchers, that post stuff, and I think they're missing a lot. You know, a lot of people post other people's stuff, and I don't think that.
Very true.
I don't think that they're really seeing it. You know, even though they say they're seeing it, I don't really feel that. I really feel like a very small percentage of the 60,000 members are actually seeing it. You know, and I think those that have taken the time to actually.
Where do you think our base should be? Do you think we should be doing more orbit models and the orbit model drawings to start with, instead of just talking about which particular planet is over our head? Should we start out with a larger model?
You know what, Sam? Like, personally, I wouldn't change anything. I think Montana Skywatchers is and Nibiru Followers Amana, which is basically, you know, the same thing in a different nutshell.
Right. Well, and we multi-post across the site.
I do feel there's some things that, like I was telling Rebecca recently, that there's some things that I think we could maybe fast track the learning curve. You know, it took us years, but I think some of us, and that's why I like to share a lot of you know, what I see, because I feel like it will help somebody get to that learning a little faster, which would be good. So we can get more people on. So we can get more people on board and more people more quickly, because if it takes everybody as long as 4 or 5 years to learn this, you know, I think it's going to deter a lot of people from learning. So I do think there is some things that we can maybe add, but for the most part, I think Montana Skywatchers and Nibiru Followers is a great place, you know, to learn. You know, I wouldn't change a whole lot to it, you know. Thanks. But I do think, given the things that we've learned, I do think that there's, you know, like Rebecca's, you know, her pictures and her comparatives, I think are great. Even for me, I still
and they're mandatory. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are without them. They are, and her work, and she has, she's affected me and made me a better person in many ways too, because, you know, her ratio of questioning and me, of course, wanting to be more on the mark, and because we're talking more to each other, and, you know, now we have to, you know, add, we need to collectively add more sister sites and more groups of people to get them on board with the time proven information. And then you're right. And my only problem is with, if we go back with Nibiru Followers Anonymous and we go back with Montana Skywatcher and the Facebook sites, it's literally like you hold somebody's hand and you spend weeks teaching them just to get them to learn to go without training wheels in a lot of cases. And so that is a little slow, but I mean, we still, regardless, I mean, my patience level has died 800 times, but I always bounce back and come back to help the new people. But then we also have membership issues where we're always adding new people. And unfortunately, a portion of them, sometimes a large portion of them, have to be automatically removed because they troll us or are only there to post there rather than participate. So if you're a member, you don't participate and you're just there to do a bombing run of your crap, well, then that doesn't work either.
So that is the problem, I think, is that a lot of people are there to talk and not to listen. That is right. Where I like people to really understand that when you come onto Montana Skywatchers or Nibiru Followers Anonymous, try to just keep your whatever you think you know inside.
It's wrong.
Just or leave it at, or better yet, leave it at the door, and just start from scratch and leave that and just absorb the information before you start downing or being skeptical. Just give it some time, absorb the information, and then kind of do your own investigative work. It's kind of what I did. When I came to Montana Skywatchers, originally I was very verbal, and then I learned very quickly that I'm just gonna shut my mouth and just learn this information and kind of go from there, because the information is there. There's a ton of tools. There's a ton of comparatives. There's a ton of again, my best learning tools for me was my time lapses, and I feel those are very good learning tools for people to understand the light angles and how light affects.
And I'd reference symbols of an alien sky. Thunderbolts project. If you want to side learn before you come to Skywatchers, symbols of an alien sky, the Thunderbolts project, and you watch the entire whole movie. And I mean, I've seen it 100 times, and I learn from it every time I watch it. So, and taking into account that the archetypes and what we've been taught and what the internet teaches and a lot of this information is all based off of that. Last week we had somebody go and ask about Ra and all the names, and and if you run off a single lore or a background educational premise such as the internet, you're going to be misled in directions that were intentionally changed long ago and rewritten and translated from one language to another, and that was only written out by somebody with their opinion. So you also have to remember there is, when you do the comparative overall, you get a wider blending, and then it all starts to fit in a self-examining and self-illuminating process where you become the understander, where you start to see rather than learning from somebody that's giving you bad internet.
Yeah.
Don't give bad internet. No.
When I first came to Montana Skywatchers, the first thing that they would send you to do, and it was required of everybody, was to go and see the Understanding the Skies series. I spent about a good week because it was like 10 different videos, 10 or 12 videos, I believe. And they were all in different lengths. Some were longer than others. Some were, I think, as long as an hour or so. But there was that first thing where people were required to go get a reference of what we do at Montana Skywatchers.
Here I'm guilty of
maybe that might be something that we could add maybe a file or do something.
Well, it's all on the sidebar in the file system of Montana Skywatcher 2. But
I think it's something that we need to kind of as you add new members, maybe be like, okay, maybe add that as a rule. Before you can join, you have to go.
It is in the membership listing. It is part. It is currently part of membership right now. Is that you go through the files in the side listing on the left-hand side. There's a file section that Lucinda spent years putting together all the links of all the stuff. It's there.
Every time I saw her getting on somebody, that's the first thing she would refer to was those files. So yeah,
right. She was in there. I mean, she was categorizing and logging everything in there for you for the longest time. And I'm kind of guilty because I barely ever use it. And I was going to, laugh at myself because, I'm requiring people to do something that I myself don't do. but then I've got all of that crap stored up in my head anyway. So,
I mean, some of us have already
maybe I get a
time.
ticket. We lost Rebecca again. Yeah. Well, yeah, but there is so much information that we've laid back over the years, and Carol Ann, that's a good idea. I hope that we would have some way to actually grow this into a larger thing, where they did get to go visit you and film it, and then everybody got to watch the video attached to that, and where we get more sister site collectives where people start talking together in a larger group. Who knows where we're gonna how big we're gonna become, and I'd love to see that. And the only thing that's going to stop that is people not getting together. So let's do that.
But I do feel and I've said this before, to keep a schedule, a set schedule, a consistent schedule of doing these shows, because people work on routine,
Right.
So if we stay consistent, we stay consistent on the time and when.
Rebecca was asking about the 2-day-a-week thing, because she's doing a Saturday show, and then we're doing the Tuesday night show, which I like the Tuesday night show too. I like them both. It is a little time consuming, which is okay, and we have to
my weekends are swamped. As I've told Rebecca, and at least till now, I can't. Those are days that I just can't really.
It works. It works the way we're doing it. Yeah, you're
Mondays and Tuesdays are my 2 days off.
You're fine.
And unfortunately, I work graveyard. But I think the other day I did that show with Mark, and it was in the morning, and that didn't get a whole lot of views. And I think it was because, I mean, it's kind of adding some now, but I think the timing is a big deal. I think this is a good time because people are off work, people have had their dinner, people have done what they had to do. So I think 8 o'clock, 9 her time, I think is not a bad time, because it's not too late where people have got to go to work. So I think this one is a good time, and I think we should stick to at least Tuesdays.
We're fine.
Maybe as time goes on, maybe we could add another day. But I think
for now, I don't know if I want to do 3 shows a week, but unless I was getting actually paid to be there, then I would up my game. But
I think one show a week right now for me is plenty, especially they do go on for a little bit, but maybe in the future we could maybe cut it down to maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and maybe split it into two days.
How could we ever do that? We can't stop talking. I mean, come on.
We
got to talk about our Nibiru here,
And just to put this out there, we don't plan to go on for 4+ hours. It just
or 8.
Or 8. You guys did 8. I that one took me about 2 weeks to get through the whole thing.
Well, we're
obsessed, to it. I would listen to it in my car, 20, 30 minutes at a time, and but it's entertainment for me. I love listening to those. So it gives me something to listen to for the next week or two. So. It's great. I usually don't like listening to myself, but when it's you guys and Leandra or somebody else, I like to listen to it and just kind of listen.
I look forward to Leandra coming back, and then our next guest. And Rebecca was there for a second. Now she's scrolling, and I just saw a border go across where she was talking about the Thunderbolts project is recommended. So she was like busy typing away, doing those.
I think she might have overwhelmed her signal.
Producing things. And the production department is brought to you by.
And I think you'll probably be losing me here soon too, because my battery is not charging. So.
Yeah, it's them gremlins are against us. I tell you, it's a plot.
Mm-hmm. And it might be time to call time of death.
Well, I think she has to let that go. We must call the vicar to pronounce death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Rebecca's dealing with more and more issues as the minutes go by.
Well, we've already lasted longer than my first original call. I was saying, maybe 2 weeks, and then I couldn't connect, and I'm still connecting, knock on wood, and I'm surprised. And
so a little hiccup, but little hiccups, but at least we're still on. We've been able to get.
So we might as well keep talking till she comes back, and then
and
hopefully your phone doesn't die. And then if I have to come up with a comedy knock joke on my own, I can do that later. I watched one on YouTube today, but and that was from Heavy D Sparks from Sparks Motors. And
I have not checked that one out yet. I keep forgetting.
Oh yeah, I love those guys, and they do heavy equipment moving, and they buy and sell, and they do they do rebuilds on trucks and Rams and diesels, and do all kinds of guy stuff. And I love Alan, and and poor old Hans has been getting a bunch of shit from a lot of trolls, and I love Hans, and I hope he hears that. And Diesel Dave is a great guy, and he's showing his kids lately, and it's a saga that grows with your mind. The longer you watch these people, you become they become like a reality TV show, like I hope we do, become a reality TV show for people, because this is reality, and it's the greatest citizen science show that ever is, and there's nothing like it out there, and nobody.
The only citizen science show.
Yeah, and and this is magnitude big, muy importante, and wow.
This is the greatest event of our lifetime, people, and you'll only catch this here because nobody else is talking about it, and whoever else is talking about it has it completely wrong, and
they don't have the backed up information we do that we've cataloged and collected.
I like what you said about how a lot of people are only. The difference between Montana Skywatchers and Nibiru Followers Anonymous is that we're comparing. We're not just taking one event. We're comparing one event to like now this last pass of Saturn and its yellow moon. I mean, look how much stuff came in from all over the world that was just comparable and matchable, and that's what makes the difference between us and other people, is that we're taking one comparison and we're comparing it to a bunch of other things that come in from all over the world, and that gives us a broader picture of what's happening.
And the rerounding in of Nibiru and his Saturn, when we first started drawing them, and coming around the corner after the 218, 219, 220, and all the drawings are matching, and we're on cue, and everything's coming in. And then, we started doing the drawings on the ion tail on the right-hand side, and then everybody started seeing that, and that's where it really took off, was when people started recognizing the ion tail in the right-hand side of the sky compared to everything else that they'd watched for so long, which was just Yuri on one side, Nibiru on the other side, and it was kind of sort of semi-boring with minor crossings of asteroids in front of the sun, and so we spent a lot of time watching that. But when the ion tail of a Saturn started performing and acting up in the sky in 2020 and etc., that's when it really got it totally interesting. And now look where we are today with some stuff where we can't even wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, it's exciting time, guys. Exciting times, and very important information that affects us all. As I was saying with Mark the other day, we're all on this rock together, regardless of race, color, or culture differences. We're all on the same rock, and this information pertains to all of us, regardless of where you are on the globe. It pertains to all of us. So it's time to get on board, guys, because this is happening. The show's happening right now, and it's a good time to pay attention and to be aware of what's happening in our surroundings, because big things are happening, and you don't want to be one of the ones that is confused when shit hits the fan and things do happen. It's good to at least be informed on what to do and what you where to go and what you have to do. Like it's really important information. So
I'm really interested to see what this Pacific Coast storm that's coming in, where this, earlier member in Seattle talked about they're expecting. So, from what I saw at first, it said like levels of flooding in the Pacific Northwest. So, a lot of this is coming in and it's not making your average weather, and people really need to start looking around your own personal sources and come to the reality that it's not public news. And if that is what it is, then there's a lot more, of course. And we know that because we
have there's little shards of truth here and there, little peanuts that they kind of lay around, but nothing concrete. Only enough to leave you with more questions and answers. So
shortly named Storm Otto. That whatever it was that hit Acapulco overnight. Damn thing formed, and within 2 days it slammed into people, and I think Acapulco is going to be devastated for years to come. It was a really serious storm, and they said this thing's it's 175-mile-an-hour winds all the way up to 200.
Yeah, they're going to be rebuilding for years.
Yeah,
and that's God knows how that's what that's going to do to the economy, the local economy there.
And it's going to be more everywhere. And, that's what, last week in France, and they got major flooding that it barely made the worldwide news. And we're getting YouTube stuff sent to us now from members around the world. They go, hey, look at this one. You didn't get this one. And lo and behold, it's far worse than what they're telling people. And it's not just this localized incident here or there. It's every week, all the time, nonstop. And everywhere else, look at Saudi Arabia, look at Yemen, they got major flooding going on the central band in the middle of the earth. And our weather is climate change, drastic change, huge change. Worst typhoon hit Taiwan a month ago.
Just look at Dubai. That's desert land. You're having floods in Dubai. If that's not cause for alarm, if that doesn't ring a bell, if that doesn't wake or ruffle some feathers, I just don't know what will.
Yeah, and it's our weather is not our weather anymore, and for the Kansas reference, we're not in Kansas anymore either. It's a whole and we're gonna see Texas gonna get whole bunch of water this winter, and who knows what's gonna come. Oh, hi Rebecca, you're back.
I'm back. You know what happens every time my internet connection just stops? Because I check it and it says no internet, so I close the whole browser down, and
your household router may be going down. I've replaced mine like 5 times.
We're definitely going to put in a travel ticket tomorrow.
Yeah, I had to actually I'm like on my 5th router already.
I don't know, but I know my son never mentioned us having trouble, and he would be the first to complain if we did. So I don't know. It's just weird. Tonight, of all nights, we're getting hit with whatever.
After we're done with the show, let's see what your signal does, and see if it goes
back. I know. I thought about I might go live on TikTok for 30 minutes or something just to say hi, but I'll see if it does it over there.
Yeah. Well, my phone's about to die, guys. So
okay. Well, we should go ahead. And did you want to go ahead and end the show, Sam?
Yep, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're just
all right. Very good.
It might be time to call time of death.
10 minutes.
Yeah, I get
it. We've been live for 3 hours, 47 minutes, 29 seconds, 30 seconds, 31.
It's been great. Every minute.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I'm happy you all were here with us, and we'll be back again Saturday at 2:00 in the afternoon Central Time. So I hope you can join us then.
Who's going to be on the show? Is it just Leandra?
I'm still working on that. I don't want to announce yet because I'm not sure. So I don't know. It's right now. It's up in the air on a couple of people.
And we'll be showing pictures.
Yeah, I'm working
kittens.
on that. Yeah, trying to get that ready for everybody. So
it's always great. It's always great doing the show with you guys, Sam, Rebecca. Always great talking to you.
It is.
So
it is. We totally click. And I know Leandra wants to join us one night.
Before you charge that phone, don't plug it in on anything flammable.
Yeah. Katie says thank you. Everybody's saying thank you. Carolyn.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us very
Thank
much.
you.
Very, very appreciative for the support, guys. That's very awesome, you guys.
Right. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end it here. I'm going to end the stream. So we will chat with everybody soon.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.